One Piece, God-level sign-in system. The sun blazed brightly, illuminating the vast, sapphire blue sky. Seagulls shrieked intermittently, their wings flapping as they glided effortlessly over the serene, glassy sea. The stillness was broken only by a gentle breeze that stirred the quiet waters. Suddenly, a medium-sized ketch emerged on the horizon, slicing through the tranquil scene. Its leisurely pace gave it the air of a proud peacock, yet no one would suspect the vessel's true nature. For this was no ordinary ship. It was a pirate vessel, as evidenced by the ominous skull and crossbones flag fluttering overhead. On the deck, a ragtag crew of scoundrels lounged carelessly, drinking and gambling without a care. They were a band of ruthless pirates, plundering and pillaging wherever they went. Amid the chaos, however, one figure stood out. A man clad in colorful knee-length shorts, casual flip-flops, and dark sunglasses manned the helm. His laid-back attire contrasted starkly with the rough appearance of the pirates around him. This was Suitsang, a man with a secret plan. "I estimate we'll reach Goa Kingdom soon," Suitsang thought, his hands steady on the wheel. "They have no idea I've subtly altered our course." Suitsang had been recruited by the pirates after their navigator succumbed to illness. Although indispensable as their helmsman, he was far from safe. The pirates viewed him as a mere tool, and once his usefulness ran out, they wouldn't hesitate to dispose of him. "Hey, boy!" a gruff voice barked. It was Captain Yabu, the fearsome leader of the crew, renowned for his impeccable marksmanship and a bounty worth millions of Baileys. "We were supposed to arrive this morning. Why is it noon, and we're still nowhere near land?" Suitsang maintained a calm demeanor despite his rising fear. "Mr. Yabu," he said, forcing a polite smile, "there might have been a slight deviation. Let me correct it, and we'll be there shortly." But Yabu wasn't satisfied. Grabbing Suitsang, he slammed him to the deck with a thud, shattering his sunglasses. "Listen, boy!" Yabu snarled, his face twisted with rage. "The only reason you're still breathing is because you're useful. Don't think I don't know you've been sneaking food to the prisoners. Defy me again, and I'll feed you to the sharks." Suitsang clenched his fists, swallowing his anger. As a time traveler in a dangerous world, he had no choice but to endure such humiliation. "This is pathetic," he thought bitterly. "Where's my cheat ability? Every other time traveler gets one. What's wrong with me?" Just as despair threatened to overtake him, a glimmer of hope appeared on the horizon. "That's Goa Kingdom," Suitsang realized, excitement bubbling within him. "If I remember correctly, Windmill Village is part of this kingdom, the hometown of Luffy, the protagonist of One Piece." Before he could dwell on it further, a mysterious voice echoed in his mind. "Ding! Congratulations, traveler! You have arrived at Windmill Village. System activation complete." Startled, Suitsang turned to ensure no one else had heard the voice. The pirates, however, were too busy arming themselves to notice. Their sinister grins promised a raid on the unsuspecting village. When Suitsang looked back, he noticed a small, ornate box before him. Its intricate patterns gleamed like a masterpiece of craftsmanship. Inside, he found a strange black fruit resembling an oversized strawberry. "A devil fruit?" Suitsang mused, recalling their significance in the One Piece world. The voice returned, urging him. "This is a super devil fruit. Eat it to unlock its power." Suitsang hesitated but knew he couldn't rely on the pirates for survival. "If I'm going to die anyway, I might as well take a chance." He bit into the fruit, wincing at its unbearable taste. Fighting the urge to spit it out, he forced himself to swallow. Almost immediately, a surge of warmth spread through his body, like soaking in a hot spring. Suitsang felt his muscles strengthen and his energy surge. His previously frail physique transformed, his body brimming with newfound power. This is incredible," Suitsang thought, excitement replacing his earlier despair. As the pirates prepared their raid, Suitsang clenched his fists, ready to take his first step toward a brighter future. In less than a minute, Suitsang felt like he had transformed from a downtrodden nobody into a strikingly confident and athletic figure. Though his muscles weren't explosively massive, they were perfectly proportioned, exuding a sense of refined power and grace. His transformation naturally caught the attention of Captain Yabu and the surrounding pirates. "What the hell is going on, Su Tsang?" The pirates, baffled by his sudden change, bombarded him with questions. "Why do you look so energized? What's happening? Did you spot a village to plunder? Is that it? Or maybe you finally want to become a pirate like us, huh? Ha ha! Shut up!" Captain Yabu barked, stepping forward. He approached Su Tsang, who now seemed a completely different person, and grabbed him roughly. "Listen, boy," he growled threateningly. "Don't try anything stupid, or you'll regret it." But Yabu's expression quickly shifted to one of shock. No matter how hard he tried, he couldn't move Su Tsang an inch. What's going on here?" Yabu stammered, his frustration growing. Su Tsang stood unmoving, staring down at the captain with disdain. "Regret? That's something you should be prepared for," he replied coldly. The pirates, sensing something was off, quickly gathered around, some drawing their weapons. "Who does this guy think he is? Let's teach him a lesson." In the past, Su Tsang might have cowered and obeyed. But that was before he awakened his god-level sign and system. Now, with newfound power coursing through his veins, he was no longer the man who endured humiliation. "Do you fools think you're even qualified to challenge me?" Su Tsang said with a smirk, his voice dripping with confidence. His words only infuriated Captain Yabu further. "Kill him!" Yabu roared. "He's outlived his usefulness anyway." The pirates raised their muskets and fired in unison. Deafening gunshots echoed across the ship as countless bullets flew toward Su Tsang. But Su Tsang didn't flinch. He stood his ground, unbothered, as darkness began to emanate from his body. A massive black shadow materialized behind him, its eerie red eyes glowing ominously. The pirates froze in fear. Su Tsang, completely unharmed, looked more like a monster than a man. "I told you," he said calmly. "You're no match for me now." Captain Yabu tried to rally his men. "Don't panic. He must have eaten a devil fruit. He's just another ability user. If bullets don't work, use blades. Attack him!" The pirates charged with their swords, determined to take him down. Su Tsang sighed. "You still don't understand the gap between us. Fine, I'll show you." With a single step forward, Su Tsang raised his palm, and the shadow behind him mimicked the motion. A massive black arm shot forward, knocking the pirates away as though they were mere toys. "Unbelievable!" one pirate stammered. "Is this the power of the devil fruit, or is he the devil himself?" Desperate, Captain Yabu ordered, "Bring the cannon! Blast him to pieces!" The pirates scrambled to comply, rolling out a cannon and firing directly at Su Tsang. But as the cannonball sped toward him, the black shadow sprouted enormous wings, shielding Su Tsang completely. With a single flap, the cannonball was deflected and sent flying harmlessly away. By now, Captain Yabu was trembling. What are you?" he cried. "No devil fruit should have power like this." Su Tsang's cold gaze bore into him. "You've done enough harm. It's time to pay the price." He stretched out his hand, and the shadow's arm followed, seizing Captain Yabu effortlessly. "Let me go!" Yabu screamed, struggling futilely. "If it weren't for me, you'd be dead in the sea. You still dare to threaten me?" Su Tsang's voice turned icy. "Don't worry, I'll save the innocent, but none of you deserve to live. Your time has come." With that, Su Tsang tightened his grip, and Captain Yabu's life ended in an instant. The remaining pirates, terrified but desperate, launched one final assault. Su Tsang moved swiftly, his shadow slicing through them like a scythe. Within moments, the deck was littered with the defeated. The once dominant Yabu pirates were no more, their reign of terror ended by the man they had once tormented. "Ah! You are a devil! You are a devil! Ugh!" The remaining pirates on the pirate ship finally lost consciousness in disbelief. Su Tsang saw that all the pirates on the ship had been completely eliminated by himself, so he put away his abilities. And what is the black shadow attached to Su Tsung's back? Of course it's a demon. The devil fruit that Su Tsung ate was not any of the common paramecia, logia, or animal types, but a devil that had never appeared in the original work, a devil fruit. Su Tsung's fruit ability is to let the devil itself possess his body to improve his abilities. This fruit seems a bit similar to the animal type. After all, it has the high explosive power of the animal type, but at the same time it has Paramecia's superpowers and Logia's ability to control nature. Even Su Tsung was very satisfied at this moment. This is right. System, you are here after all. If you don't come again, I may lose hope in this world. Immediately afterwards, the pirate ship had anchored on the island. Su Tsung entered the cabin directly. The cabin was very dark. However, Su Tsung, who had the ability of a demon, also had many superpowers, such as night vision. You can see clearly even in the dark. Entering the door of a room, Su Tsung knocked on the door. Immediately a cry for help came from the door. Don't come in! Pirate! If you come in, I will die in front of you. By then, you will no longer know the location of the mysterious treasure. The speaker was a middle-aged woman, and her voice was obviously very frightening. Su Tsung immediately responded. Hello, Aunt, I am Su Tsung. Those pirates are dead and will never hurt you again. You can rest assured. What? Is this true? The woman inside was obviously doubtful, but she finally opened the door. There was a girl about the same age as Su Tsung inside the door, and next to her was the middle-aged woman. The two of them knew Su Tsung. Captain Yabu had imprisoned the two of them before, but Su Tsung secretly gave them food. Is everything you said true? Su Tsung? Those pirates are really dead? Who killed them? The middle-aged woman felt very surprised. After all, Yabu was also from the East China Sea. A domineering pirate with a bounty of several million baileys. Ordinary people would never be his match. Su Tsung didn't know how to explain it, so he made up a random reason and said, They were all taken away by others. I don't know exactly what happened. Now there are only 3 of us left in the whole ship. Let's get off the ship and take a look. Later, at Su Tsung's invitation, the two of them followed Su Tsung and left the pirate ship. This is the kingdom of Goa. The village with the windmill not far from here is called Windmill Village. Let's go over and have a rest. It should be fine if the boat is left here. Su Tsung pointed to the map and introduced. The middle-aged woman was named Halia, and her daughter was named Nellie. They were originally on a merchant ship, but after this group of pirates bumped into the merchant ship, they naturally plundered them at all costs. In the end, almost everyone on the ship was killed. Halia finally revealed a mysterious message, and finally she and her daughter were left behind. Captain Yabu wanted to torture them severely, but the information about the mysterious treasure in Halia's mouth was very important, so in the end Captain Yabu had no choice but to imprison the two together. At that time, Su Tsung desperately traveled to this world, and was eventually salvaged by the evil Captain Yabu. Su Tsung accidentally revealed that he could sail, and then became the captain of the Yabu pirates. Scholar. The 3 finally arrived at Windmill Village. The environment here is very beautiful, very peaceful, and you feel very comfortable when you stay here. Su Tsung looked at the big windmill and couldn't help but think, what a great place. I wonder where the pirate timeline is now. And just when Su Tsung was thinking, the sudden sound of the system sounded again. Host, if you have any questions, you can communicate with me at any time, the system said. Su Tsung still looked around, looking very cautious. Don't worry, no one in this world can hear my voice except you, the system said. I see, it is indeed very humane. System, I want to know you in detail. It seems that I didn't have this opportunity before. Su Tsung sat cross-legged on the ground and began to communicate seriously with the system. Of course, the name of this system is called the God-level sign-in system. As the name suggests, you can obtain different abilities by signing in at different locations. The system said. Since you signed in for the first time, the system has issued you a Super Devil Fruit. Reward, but this kind of devil fruit does not exist in this world. Su Tseng nodded and said, Indeed, I have never heard of the devil fruit, but this fruit is indeed very powerful, and even my usual state has been affected in a good way. The system responded with some pride in its tone. Of course, the reason why this fruit is called the Super Devil Fruit is because of its comprehensive ability. Not only can he guide ability users to become more and more powerful in daily life, he also has various potentials and can be combined with many abilities. The most important thing is that this fruit will not make you afraid of sea water. Su Tseng was surprised time and time again by the system. Having only used it once before, Su Tseng naturally did not carefully understand his own fruit abilities. Now when I hear System 1's explanation, I am naturally pleasantly surprised. I'll ask you if I don't know anything about the fruit in the future. I want to know where I can get rewards by signing in? Su Tseng asked. The system responded. You should know Monkey D. Luffy, right? Yes, of course I know. After all, he is the protagonist of the original work. Some of the iconic places Straw Hat Luffy arrives will be check-in locations, and each time you sign in, you will be given random rewards, including abilities from the pirate world, as well as items from other worlds. All in all, there will definitely be things that will surprise you and things that will make you crazy, so stay tuned. The system also sold out a trick. Okay, by the way, how can the sign-in be considered successful? Su Tseng asked again. It's simple. You just need to stay near this place for a while, that's enough. The system said. This is good. Su Tseng originally thought that the Super Devil Fruit he got was already the biggest cheat, but now it seems that even more surprises are yet to come. He didn't need to do anything. As long as he arrived at a certain place, he would be rewarded. Such a satisfying thing naturally made Su Tseng laugh so hard that his teeth almost fell out. Last question. Can you tell me the current timeline? Su Tseng asked the question he wanted to know most. Huh? Su Tseng asked again, but the system did not respond to him. You go to the tavern, you will understand naturally after you go there. The system was silent for a while, and then there was no movement after it finished speaking. Tavern. If he hadn't read the original work, Su Tseng would still be a little unbelievable that there would be a tavern in such a cozy town. Moreover, the pub here seems to be open 24 hours a day, starting in broad daylight. Su Tseng then walked into the tavern. On the bar of the tavern, there was a woman wiping the wine glass seriously. There were not many people in the entire tavern at this time. Apart from the faint smell of wine, there was also a hint of the fragrance of flowers. Su Tseng then sat at the bar and ordered a glass of the most normal beer. Then I drank heavily and saw that there were some meat skewers on the menu, so I ordered a few, which was very satisfying. Su Tseng then took out Bailey that was snatched from the pirate ship. Boss, I would like to ask, is there a person named Luffy here? The female clerk returned Bailey to Su Tseng and said, Who are you? I'm Luffy's friend, Su Kangran said. However, the clerk immediately smiled and nodded and said, So he's Luffy's friend. We can't take these Baileys, otherwise Luffy will blame me. When will Luffy come? Su Tseng asked directly. The tavern in Windmill Village can be said to be a place where Luffy has a high probability of appearing. Not sure when. Before he finished speaking, he heard a loud noise. Boom! The door of the tavern was kicked open. Immediately afterwards, a group of people who looked very untouchable slowly walked to the bar, while Su Tseng was minding his own business eating meat skewers and drinking beer without paying any attention to them. Hey! Give us some wine. I want all your wine. The person speaking was obviously a boss, and he looked like he was not to be trifled with. Su Tseng glanced sideways at these people and saw at a glance that these people were bandits. Of course, these people are just a group of ordinary bandits, but they are a little more arrogant and domineering. Okay. Please wait a moment. Upon seeing this, the female clerk's face changed slightly, and she immediately started preparing beer. At this time, the bandit leader who spoke slowly walked to Su Tseng's side and also sat on the bar. We've taken care of this place, you kid, you can leave. The bandit leader said to Su Tseng very rudely. Boss, these meat skewers are pretty good. Give me 2 more skewers, and give me 2 glasses of good beer. Su Tsang almost ignored the bandit leader next to him. The bandit leader didn't get angry, he just smiled coldly and asked, "Boy, didn't you hear me? Do you want to provoke me?" Well, the female clerk is a little embarrassed. She doesn't know whether she should get something for Su Tsang now. "Take what you have and don't worry about the rest," Su Tsang said very confidently. When the female clerk saw this, she had no choice but to serve the food honestly. Seeing that Su Tsang was so disrespectful to him, the bandit leader was completely angry. "This kid is so shameless. Let's work together. Take care of him." Just when the bandit leader was about to teach Su Tsang a lesson, there was a sudden boom sound at the door. "Rubber pistol!" A young voice came, and a young man wearing a straw hat and splints, who was dressed somewhat similar to Su Tsang, punched, and his hands actually grew longer. Although it was only one move, it had already defeated many bandits. "Luffy!" Su Tsang was a little excited when he saw Luffy, but the bandit leader next to him actually put a knife directly on Su Tsang's neck, as if he was preparing to take Su Tsang as a hostage. "Hey! Who are you? We don't defend the river." The bandit leader was still very panicked. After all, the young man in front of him knocked down all his men with just one blow. "It's so disgusting. You actually took someone else as a hostage." Luffy was very angry when he saw the situation in front of him. However, no matter how fast he was still not as fast as the bandit leader's sword, and he didn't know what to do for a moment. However, Su Tsang didn't have any worries at this time. "You want to hold me hostage? Do you have the qualifications?" Su Tsang had just asked the question. The whole person turned into a burst of black smoke, and then he stretched out his devil's hand and tightly grasped the head of the bandit leader. The huge devil's hand held the bandit leader's head as if holding an ant. What kind of monster are you?" The bandit leader is so scared that he doesn't know what to say. In addition to the bandit leader, Luffy and the female store clerk were also shocked. "This is the ability of the devil fruit." After Su Tsang finished speaking, he directly used the devil's claw to catch all the bandits, and finally threw them all away. In the end, these bandits were either dead or disabled. And the one who is most interested in all of this is naturally Luffy. "Wow! Are you also a devil fruit user? What kind of ability is this? It's so magical. It seems very powerful." Luffy stared at Su Tsang like a curious baby for a long time and said. Seeing this, the female clerk asked, "Luffy, aren't you friends? Don't you know each other?" Before Luffy could say anything, Su Tsang directly interrupted and said to the female clerk with a smile, "I'm sorry, miss, these money will be regarded as your compensation. In addition, help me order the endless meat and food. I can't finish my drink, I want to have a good chat with Luffy." "Okay, I get it." The female clerk didn't refuse, but Luffy was drooling. "You're so kind. Meat. 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 What's your name? Do we really know each other?" Luffy then chatted with Su Tsang happily. "My name is Su Tsang, and I am a devil fruit user. We didn't know each other before, but now we are friends. I can treat you to meat for the rest of my life, but I want to ask you something," Su Tsang said. "What's going on?" Luffy's meat was served, so he asked while eating. "Are you planning to go to sea soon? Can you come with me?" Su Tsang asked. According to the system prompts, as long as you follow Luffy to various places, you will naturally receive various rewards, which will naturally play an extremely important role in improving Su Tsang's strength. How do you know? My dream is to become One Piece. I will go to sea soon. You want to go to sea with me? Of course. Luffy has a very good impression of Su Tsang, and now someone is willing to be his companion, he is naturally very willing. However, I have a suggestion. If you are the captain, I must be the deputy captain? Until you become One Piece? How about it? Su Tsang asked tentatively. Well, okay. But you also want to do me a favor? Is that okay? Luffy asked while eating. What? Let's have a good fight with me. It's just a whim. I think it's interesting. Your abilities are very interesting. Luffy said very innocently. Suit Singh said with a smile. My ability is not for fun. If I am not careful, I may kill you. However, if I have to compete with you before I can board your ship, then I have no choice but to. It's embarrassing. After the two of them finished eating the meat and drinking the wine, they walked to an open space in Windmill Village as agreed. My name is Suit Song. Suit Song introduced himself again. My name, Monkey D. Luffy, is the man destined to become One Piece. Luffy also introduced himself very seriously. Immediately afterwards, both sides got into fighting postures and were ready to fight at any time. Coming. Luffy grabbed the ground with both hands, pulled his entire body backward, and then used the elasticity and ductility of rubber to bounce straight towards Suit Song. Luffy rushed over very quickly and was in front of Suit Song in just a blink of an eye. And Luffy was ready to go, preparing to use his hands behind him to hit Suit Song's body hard. It turned out to be a rubber rocket launcher. Suit Song saw through Luffy's attack at a glance and naturally counterattacked immediately. Suit Song was faster. He turned around slightly and dodged nimbly, causing Luffy's attack to miss in an instant. At the same time, Suit Song grabbed Luffy's weightless body and used his own strength to spin it 360 degrees. After spinning around for several times, Suit Song finally threw Luffy out. Luffy himself was unable to control his body due to weightlessness. Now, after being spun around so many times by Suit Song, when he stood up, his eyes were naturally filled with whirlpools, and he felt like the world was spinning. Wow! I'm so dizzy. Your reaction speed is so fast. Come again! Suit Song knew that Luffy would not give up after failing once, so he encouraged him to try again. Sure enough, Luffy stood up and calmed down for a while, then said, Rubber machine gun! This time, Luffy used his relatively powerful move in the early stages, which was to use the characteristics of his rubber fruit to attack the target in front of him at extremely fast speeds. Suit Song naturally showed no sign of weakness and directly used his devil fruit ability. The devil possessed him behind him and blocked all of Luffy's rubber machine guns with just one wing. Luffy was shocked when he saw this, but the attack in his hand did not slow down at all, but continued to output. Bang bang bang! Countless attacks fell on Suit Song's wings, but Suit Song remained unscathed. Suit Song said, Luffy, you are quite perseverant, but don't forget, I haven't really started attacking yet. After Suit Song finished speaking, his wings immediately bounced back outwards, and an extremely strong reaction force popped out from the demon's wings behind Suit Song. And Luffy's whole body was like a cannonball, being thrown away heavily. Luffy finally fell to the ground, but stood up very neatly. Luffy, you are no match for me now, but if you still want to try, I can accompany you. Suit Song knew that Luffy would never give up so easily. Sure enough, Luffy rushed towards Suit Song again, with a pair of firm eyes. However, Suit Song did not plan to continue spending time with Luffy this time. He released the power of his devil fruit, and the devil's black wings grew directly from his back, and the extremely slender black devil arms also came from Suit Song, stretched out from behind. What? Luffy has never seen such a scene, and even forgot to attack for a moment. Suit Song gave a gentle push, and Luffy's entire body was knocked away again. This time, even with his huge willpower, Luffy could no longer stand up. After all, what Suit Song possessed was the Super Devil Fruit. Suit Song was not happy to see Luffy defeated. All this was just reasonable. Suit Song immediately sent Luffy to the doctor for treatment. How could this guy be injured so badly? The doctor in the village seemed to know Luffy, and he was shocked when he saw Luffy's injuries. But a normal person would be dead if he was injured to this extent. However, fortunately, Luffy was the protagonist, and did not die so easily. Under the careful care of this doctor, Luffy finally got better. Suit Song, who knew Luffy well, directly cooked a lot of meat. When Luffy saw the meat, it was like a monkey seeing a banana. After eating, Luffy miraculously recovered. Suit Song! You are so strong! I have decided. From now on, you will be the captain, and I will be the vice-captain. Luffy didn't seem to take this title seriously, and Su Tsung naturally didn't think so. If the plot changes, how will Su Tsung sign in? Su Tsung declined repeatedly, but Luffy seemed determined to recognize Su Tsung as the captain. In the end, he had no choice but to do so. Su Tsung said that when the pirate group grows bigger in the future, there will be 2 captains. Finally, Luffy agreed. As the days passed, Su Tsung had been familiarizing himself with his abilities and purchasing some necessities for going to sea. Finally, Su Tsung planned to go to sea with Luffy. The two boarded the Yabu pirate ship and changed the pirate flag to the Straw Hat pirate flag. Although it was opened in the wrong way, everything officially set sail just like the original work. As for the previous mother and daughter, they finally chose to stay in Windmill Village, but in order to repay Su Tsung for rescuing them, the middle-aged woman told Su Tsung the information about the mysterious treasure. Finally, Su Tsung and Luffy started sailing with great excitement. At the beginning, the entire sea was calm, cloudless, and the sun was warm. However, they didn't know where they arrived, and the storm started, and there was almost no tacit understanding between the two. In the end, the whole ship completely lost its direction, and the two of them started a journey of random sailing on the sea, very frustrated. This day, I'm starving to death. Su Tsung, can you conjure food? Can your wings be eaten? Luffy is so hungry that he starts talking nonsense. Don't be ridiculous, Luffy. Although our ship is very big, it is of little use anymore. If there is no more food, I think we will not be able to survive. Su Tsung said very tiredly. It can be said that with Luffy, it is even more difficult and tiring than sailing on the sea alone. Hey! Look! What is that? Su Tsung saw a ship sailing on the sea, and naturally he immediately shared it with Luffy. And Luffy jumped for joy when he saw this. Wow! There's a ship! We're going to be saved. Then Luffy grabbed the mast, pushed backwards, and finally launched himself onto the ship. This guy is really careless. Didn't he see the pirate flag on the opposite side at all? Su Tsung shook his head, and finally used the devil's wings to fly quickly to the pirate ship on the opposite side. The demon's power consumed Su Tsung's energy and physical strength, but not much. After Su Tsung landed on the deck, he found that Luffy had been surrounded by pirates on the ship. Wow! We just want something to eat. Why are you like this? Luffy didn't understand why the people on the boat were saying nasty things to him, and wanted to attack him. Genius, this is a pirate ship, Su Tsung explained. We are pirates too. Luffy pointed at himself. The other pirates were naturally more nervous. A conflict naturally started inexplicably. The pirates on the ship surged out and immediately surrounded Luffy and Su Tsung. The pirates were all fierce, and the leader was fat and ugly, wearing a white hat and uniform, and holding a huge mace in his hand. Behind her, in addition to the group of Gyuki snake gods, there was also a boy with fan hair and glasses. Kirby, the woman asked very fiercely. Exist. Who is the most beautiful in this sea? The woman asked. Kaby touched the back of his head and said very respectfully. That must be the captain of this ship, Miss Arita. Ha! That's very well said. These guys are actually commanding a pirate ship. They seem to be a very good prey. Catch them. Arita finally ordered the attack. Yes. The pirates under his command responded, and then rushed towards Luffy and Su Tsung. Female pirate Arita? Isn't this the pirate from the beginning of One Piece? It seems like everything is developing normally according to the direction of the plot, which is good. Su Tsung was determined. He was afraid that he would disturb the plot and end up going to other places. In the end, he would be unable to sign in and become stronger. Although this group of pirates has a large number of people, their strength is terrible. Luffy alone had knocked many pirates to the ground. How is that possible? Captain? This guy's arms have actually grown longer. How is that possible? Is this guy a monster? All the pirates didn't know what to do at this time. Damn it! Don't be afraid. This guy should be a devil fruit user. Just attack the other person. Arita knew that persimmons were easy to pick up, so her subordinates immediately rushed towards Su Tsang. Su Tsang said calmly, "You really chose the wrong person." Immediately afterwards, Su Tsang also directly released the power of his devil fruit, and the devil instantly possessed his whole back. The energy-like demon behind him has now gradually turned into a physical entity, and Su Tsang's strength has become significantly stronger. Facing the pirates who came here, Su Tsang was naturally merciless. He simply waved his arms and kicked a few times, and the terrifying power was released on the pirates. Countless pirates fell to the ground like this. On the ground. This guy is scarier than this kid. Captain? What should we do now? These two guys are too mysterious. We are no match for these two guys. Captain. He is too strong. Could it be that he is also a devil fruit user? The pirates were retreating steadily, and the Captain Arita's face was extremely depressed at this time. She slammed the mace in her hand on the ship, then glared at Luffy and Su Tsang and said, "You two brats. Just let me take care of my beautiful Arita." "Ha ha. Beautiful Arita." Luffy immediately laughed after hearing this. "Asshole. Why are you laughing? Am I right? KB. Tell me, am I the most beautiful woman on the sea?" Arita looked at KB fiercely and asked. Su Tsang said, "KB, don't be suppressed by her power, and truly be yourself. I know you dare to speak the truth. Yeah, don't tell lies. Just say what's on your mind." Luffy also advised. Then KB finally plucked up the courage and said, "Captain Arita. You are the ugliest old woman on the sea." Ha ha. Luffy couldn't stop laughing after hearing this. "Asshole. KB. I'm going to kill you." At this moment, Arita waved the mace in her hand again, and was about to hit KB in front of her. Su Tsang had already used the devil's wings to rush in front of Arita in an instant, and Su Tsang grabbed the mace tightly. Even though Arita used all her strength, she still couldn't shake Su Tsang. "Asshole. How is this possible? There is someone stronger than me." Arita was still in a state of surprise. At this time, Su Tsang easily pulled Arita's entire body up. The shadow of the devil behind him became bigger and bigger, and finally, Arita was easily thrown into the endless sky. "It's over." Su Tsang looked at KB and comforted him. This ship was the base camp of the Alita pirates. After throwing the pirates into the water, Su Tsang and Luffy naturally seized the ship and abandoned the ship that was covered with wounds. However, while Luffy and Su Tsang were fighting fiercely with Arita and other pirates, the Yabu pirate ship seemed to have been snatched away by others. Luffy was still confused and asked, "What's going on?" I said. After Su Tsang saw the orange-haired figure snatching the ship, he already had the answer in his heart, but he pretended not to know. "It doesn't matter. There aren't many things on that ship. Why don't we just use this ship as our own ship? Change the pirate flag and we can start sailing again," Su Tsang suggested. Of course, that's good. Luffy naturally knew that there was a lot of food and water on this ship, which would at least allow everyone to continue their adventure. KB looked at Su Tsang and Luffy, and he didn't know what to say at first, but soon, Su Tsang made KB temporarily forget about being ravaged by Alita, and opened his heart. "My dream is to become a Marine. What about you?" Kirby asked. "My dream is to become One Piece," Luffy said. Su Tsang said with a smile, "My dream is to take adventures with One Piece, and finally watch him become One Piece." After hearing this dream, Luffy's eyes changed again when he looked at Su Tsang. "Oh my God! Su Tsang, you are simply born to be my partner." Luffy was very excited. Su Tsang smiled faintly and said, "As the captain, you have to work harder, otherwise you won't be able to protect the crew." "That's not going to work." "Don't worry. I will definitely protect my companions." Luffy's eyes burst out with great faith. What everyone had to do next was to put Kirby at the nearest Marine base. After all, Kirby is relatively suitable for development at Marine. After meeting Garp and being well trained, he can also improve his own strength a lot. KB and Sutsang both knew a little bit about navigation, so the ship naturally followed the right path. Hey KB, are we really here? Luffy asked in disbelief. Of course. This is the most basic ability of a navigator, don't you never steer? Kirby asked. Believe me, he is indeed a road fool. Although Luffy's Lucci is a little better than Zoro, it's only a little better. Ha ha! Luffy laughed after hearing this. Mr. Luffy, this is not the time to laugh. Roronoa Zoro, that's where he was caught. The famous pirate hunter, Roronoa Zoro. KB then recalled Zoro's situation, and the expression on his face seemed to be a little scared. He is like a bloodthirsty beast. He harvests the heads of pirates who have a bounty on them, and cuts their corpses into pieces. People call him a monster in human skin. KB said uneasily. Seeing this, Sutsang smiled and said to Luffy, I think it's better to invite such a vicious person to our ship and become our crew member? What do you think? It's indeed a good idea. Luffy also thought it was very reasonable. When KB saw this, he was extremely surprised and complained. Are you listening? This guy. I said he is an extremely vicious devil. Hee hee. Sutsang didn't care what KB said, but continued to drive towards the marine base. The atmosphere on the ship became a little weird, but soon, everyone arrived at the town where the marine base could be seen. There's a marine base in the distance, a peaceful town nearby, and an extremely lively market in the town. When Luffy saw this, he raised his hands excitedly and shouted, Finally landed! It's been a long time since we landed. We are pirates. It's better to keep a low profile as much as possible. KB strongly agreed with what Sutsang said, but Luffy didn't listen at all. At this time, Luffy had already landed and started urging the two of them. Seeing this, Sutsang and KB had no choice but to follow Luffy into the market. On both sides of the street, there are some small stalls and hawkers, with a dazzling array of products, all kinds of fruits and vegetables. Luffy's eyes gleamed when he saw them. At this time, KB quickly persuaded, Mr. Luffy, Mr. Sutsang, it's too messy to find someone like that as a partner. I haven't decided yet, but if he is a good person, I will definitely treat him as a companion. Luffy explained. You are arrested just because you are a bad person. KB also complained. Luffy took out a fruit and gave the merchant a Bailey, then asked, Is the man named Zoro at the base? As soon as these words came out, everyone was afraid to avoid them. It seems that Zoro's name cannot be mentioned, Sutsang said. Anyway, let's go to the base first. Do you want to be a Marine, Kobe? Luffy asked. Yeah, but I'm not mentally prepared yet. KB seemed a little unsure. I heard that there is a colonel named Minka here. After KB mentioned Minka, people around him were once again afraid to avoid him. Luffy laughed when he saw this and said, This whole town is so interesting. KB said with some fear, It's too strange, let's not mention Zoro for now. Why is everyone afraid when Colonel Minka is mentioned? Even I am starting to feel uneasy. Did he do something bad? Luffy guessed. How is that possible? Kirby and Luffy discussed as they walked. At this moment, Sutsang didn't say much, because when he heard Colonel Minka, he already knew where he was. Immediately afterwards, a systematic sound made Sutsang very excited again. Congratulations, host! Congratulations on your successful sign-in at Shields Town and Marine 153 branch. Sign-in rewards have been prepared for you. Ding ding ding! Congratulations on getting the Zanpakuto from the world of Shinigami. This is your exclusive Zanpakuto. The quality of the Zanpakuto in this world is the highest quality sword. But you need to figure out the name of your Zanpakuto by yourself. After the sound of the system, Sutsang had a knife on his waist. The length of this knife seemed to be longer than an ordinary samurai sword. The blade is slightly longer than the swords in the pirate world, and the handle and scabbard have very exquisite patterns, which look quite artistic. Although Sutsang was walking, he still couldn't control the curiosity and excitement in his heart. With a sudden sound, he pulled out the knife, The knife is very dazzling under the sunlight. It's very sharp. However, I don't seem to know the name of this sword. Only by knowing the name of the sword can you use the Shurikai ability that is only available in the Shinigami world. If you want to learn Bankai, you must first master the Zanpakuto, the embodiment of ontology, and the state of surrender. In this way, the strength will be truly improved. Su Tseng knew that he could not rely too much on his devil fruit. In the battle in the pirate world, the strength of the fruit is only one aspect. Swordsmanship, domineering, etc. are all elements that determine victory. 1. However, we have not yet entered the Great Channel. In fact, these are too far for Su Tseng. The three of them have arrived at the entrance of the Marine base. It's finally here. We are about to say goodbye, Mr. Luffy and Mr. Su Tseng. Although it is a short time. Kaby has begun to cry, but Luffy has climbed up the wall to look for Zoro. Where is Zoro? Unexpectedly, Luffy actually found Zoro in this open space. The person in front of him had a black turban and a green belt. Su Tseng also confirmed that it was Zoro. As long as you untie the rope, you can let him go easily, right? Luffy asked Kaby with a smile. Naturally, Kaby quickly stopped him and said, If you let that kind of person go, I don't know what will happen. You will definitely be killed too. Don't worry, Su Tseng and I are both very strong, Luffy said confidently, not taking what Kaby said seriously at all. This man is hopeless. Kaby was very speechless. He looked at Su Tseng and found that he had no intention of persuading Luffy. Kaby's heart was already full of despair. Hey, you three are an eyesore. Disappear quickly. Zoro suddenly said unkindly. Ah. Mr. Luffy. If you want to find that kind of guy as a companion, even a few lives won't be enough. Kaby was trying to persuade Luffy, but he didn't expect that a ladder suddenly appeared on the wall next to him. A little girl climbed up and came to Zoro with a rice ball. The girl showed the rice ball. Although this is the first time, I still made it with great care. However, Zoro always refused. At this time, a yellow-haired ruffian walked in, followed by two sailors wearing marine uniforms. I didn't expect you to be in such good spirits, Roronoa Zoro, said the yellow-haired ruffian. Great. It must be someone from Marine. This way the child will be safe. Kirby felt relieved. However, immediately after, the blond man ate one rice ball and found it unpalatable, then threw the other rice ball on the ground and soiled it. Didn't you see this notice? Those who help criminals will also be sentenced to death. This is the order of Marine Colonel Monka. Even if you are a kid, you should know how scary my dad is, right? Hey! Throw this brat out, the blond boy ordered. But this Marine really doesn't want to do this. After all, she is still a child. I said throw her out. Didn't you hear my order? I'll complain to my dad. Under the repeated requests and threats from the blond boy, Marine had no choice but to throw the girl out. The weak little girl was thrown out, and naturally there would be no good results. Luffy immediately took action when he saw this, and hugged the little girl tightly. When Su Tseng saw that Luffy had taken action, he naturally saved his energy, and turned his attention to the open space again. This guy with yellow hair is really annoying, Su Tseng thought. After Luffy put the child down, he came to the open space and began to communicate with Zoro. At this time, the blond man had also left. I heard you are a bad person, Luffy said. Oh? So you're still here? Zoro responded, looking at Luffy. Are you really strong when you are tied up here in public? Luffy asked. You don't need to meddle in other people's business. Zoro's words didn't sound too offended by Luffy's words. At this time, Su Tseng also climbed over the wall and quickly came to Zoro. Huh! You didn't leave either, kid? Zoro looked at Su Tseng and said, but soon Zoro saw the sword on Su Tseng's waist. This Zanpakuto, which was the supreme fast sword, immediately attracted Zoro's attention. Attention! Are you a swordsman? This knife is… I can't name it, but it feels like a very good knife. Zoro stared at the knife on Su Tseng's waist and didn't recognize it for a long time. Eh? When did you have a knife? Why didn't I know? Luffy asked, very confused. He and Su Tsang had been together for so many days, and he had never seen Su Tsang wearing a knife. I just bought this, Su Tsang said. Although I don't know the name of this knife is definitely one of the best knives in the world. I think you can tell Zoro, right? Su Tsang deliberately seduced Zoro. Zoro looked at it for a long time and then asked, You are also a swordsman? Why don't you accept the challenge? I will fight you. If you win, why not give me this sword? Seeing this, Su Tsang laughed and said, I don't think I need to fight a dead man, right? Death? I won't die so easily. My perseverance is different from others. Zoro said very insistently. They won't let you hold on for that long. They will definitely kill you in the middle. This is what Minka's gang does, Su Tsang said. However, Kirby had also come in at this time and said, It's impossible, right? After all, this is a just marine. Huh? Su Tsang just smiled but said nothing. By the way, can you help me get that? Zoro then looked at the trampled food on the ground. Do you want to eat? It's all sand, Luffy asked. Shut up and let me eat. Zoro opened his mouth, and Luffy put the rice ball into Zoro's mouth. Zoro chewed it with gusto. It's delicious. I'm full. Zoro was very satisfied. Seeing this, Su Tsang said, Roronoa Zoro, if that blonde boy executes you tomorrow, this should be regarded as breaking the agreement between you, right? So are you willing to die? Or give it a try with us? Zoro was silent, seeming to be thinking, and seemed not to know how to answer Su Tsang. Luffy looked at Su Tsang and asked, Does that blonde boy really deserve a beating? If that's the case, I want to beat him. Don't. He is Colonel Monka's son. Kaby was still trying to persuade him, but he had no idea that Marine had already changed his mind. Seeing this, Su Tsang finally said, Really, are you still naive enough to believe that guy? Kuina seems to have misjudged the person. Are you unwilling to abide by the agreement between you now? What? Zoro's eyes were filled with disbelief. After Su Tsang said the name of the person he cared about very much, he was naturally attracted to Su Tsang. How did you know that person's name? What on earth do you know? Zoro asked, very anxious and shocked at the same time. I know what has nothing to do with you, right? However, if you die meaninglessly, then we will lose a partner. Su Tsang then looked at Luffy. Partner. That's right. Luffy also walked up to him and said, Since Su Tsang said you are a good person, then you are definitely a good person. Let me help you untie the rope and become our partner. Luffy invited. What did you say? Zoro didn't seem to understand what Luffy meant. I'm looking for a fellow pirate, Luffy said. I refuse. Do you want me to take the initiative to become a villain? Don't waste my time. Zoro refused immediately. Pirates are evil. Who wants to be a pirate? Zoro refused again. What does it matter? You are known as an evil bounty hunter. No matter what others think of me, I have never done anything that I regret. No matter what, I will live on and accomplish what I want to do. Zoro said yearningly. Su Tsang said, As a swordsman, what you want to do is to defeat the man Hawkeye, right? This is the agreement between you. You have complied with the current agreement, but you have betrayed the lifelong agreement with your best friend. Are you satisfied with this? This time Zoro was no longer calm and responded immediately. Who are you? Why do you know so many things? It's like you can see through my heart? It's not that I can see through your heart, but I have a general understanding of your past. I know you won't sit still and I believe you can make the right choice. Su Tsang showed a look of faith, and Zoro remained silent. Speak. That's right. It seems that you are not an ordinary person. Zoro looked at Su Tsang meaningfully and said. Luffy also nodded and decided on his own. I have made up my mind to have you as my partner. We'll help you get your sword back. You must be our companion. Luffy and Su Tsang said in unison. Let me think about it. After Zoro finished speaking, he fell silent, seeming to be thinking about his past. But Suit-sang and Luffy were not idle, they both rushed towards the marine base. Luffy flew directly to the tower of the marine base and broke the sculpture of Colonel Monka. Then, Colonel Monka angrily ordered his men to capture Luffy. As soon as Suit-sang flew up, he saw this scene. Luffy is really full of surprises. However, Suit-sang reacted quickly. He grabbed Luffy and the blonde Barramed as quickly as possible, and asked the blonde to show the way and take them to find Zoro's sword. Soon Zoro's sword was found. There are 3 swords? Which sword is Zoro's? Luffy asked, who knew that Belumd had fainted. All 3, he is a 3-sword style, take it. Suit-sang said. If the guess is correct, Kabi has untied Zoro's rope and Minka is now ready to kill them. Our speed should be faster. Suit-sang guessed based on the plot. What? Luffy looked through the window and saw Marine aiming his gun at Zoro and Kirby. Not good. In desperation, Luffy used the elasticity of the rubber to rush out of the window, and at the same time stood in front of Zoro and Kirby. Because it is rubber, it can rebound all bullets, and Luffy's appearance directly protects Zoro and Kirby. It's useless. Haha. Luffy said happily. Who are you? Zoro was also shocked. He didn't expect Luffy to be so magical. I am Monkey D. Luffy, a man who aspires to become One Piece. Luffy gave a thumbs up. Immediately afterwards, Suit-sang quickly flew over from the window. And I am the one who protects One Piece, Suit-sang. Suit-sang threw the 3 knives to Zoro. What? One Piece? Is this serious? Do you know what this sentence means? Zoro was a little unbelievable. After all, this sentence was said by a boy about his own age. Mr. Luffy is serious. He is this kind of person. He became One Piece and obtained the most ultimate secret treasure in the world, that One Piece. Kirby also agreed. Forget it. Instead of being killed here, I might as well become your companion. Zoro finally said. Great. Are you willing to be our partner? Great. Great. Luffy was very excited. In addition to Suit-sang, his Straw Hat Pirates now have another Zoro. Idiot. If you understand, untie the rope quickly, Zoro urged. Marine, on the other hand, was still in a state of extreme shock. What happened to that guy? The bullet actually bounced back. Colonel Minka still had some knowledge. He was slightly stunned at first, and then said, That Straw Hat Boy is not an ordinary person. He must have eaten the famous devil fruit, right? Devil fruit? That secret treasure of the sea? It is said that people who eat it can gain unimaginable abilities, the ability to breathe fire, and the ability to cause tsunamis. I have heard many legends. Due to the wide variety, the specifics are not clear. I heard its secret lies in the Great Waterway. What the Straw Hat Boy showed is undoubtedly the ability of the devil, and the guy with wings just now must also be an Esper who ate the devil fruit. Colonel Minka also said seriously, But no matter who the other party is, as long as they oppose me, they will definitely die. If the gun doesn't work, just hack them to death. After Colonel Minka's order, the Marines picked up their knives and rushed toward them aggressively. Luffy, Suit-sang, Zoro and others. At the last critical moment, Suit-sang cut Zoro's rope. And at that critical moment, Zoro picked up his 3 knives and accurately and quickly blocked everyone's attacks in the crowd. Marine was shocked that one person could block the attacks of so many people. This guy is so strong. The Marines stopped their attacks one after another. Asshole! Why are you still in a daze? Get rid of them quickly! Colonel Minka shouted. Squat down, Zoro! Luffy said suddenly. Rubber whip! Luffy used a sweeping kick, and all the Marines in the team were instantly kicked away by Luffy. When Suit-sang was kicked by Luffy, he naturalized his body and was directly immune to Luffy's attack. Win-win! So awesome! Kabi was also very excited when he saw this. What on earth are you? Zoro looked at Luffy and asked in surprise. I am the rubber man who ate the rubber fruit. Luffy said. I am a devil who ate a devil fruit. Su Tsang said calmly. Only then did everyone understand why the two of them were so powerful. It turned out that they were both devil fruit users. Use the fastest speed to deal with this guy, otherwise our trip will be delayed. Su Tsang then rushed towards the axe hand Minka at a very fast speed, and punched the huge axe in Minka's right hand hard. Superior. Just hearing a boom, the axe in Minka's right hand actually had huge cracks. How is this possible? I am Colonel Marine. Axeman Minka. Minka then waved his giant axe. It looks like a powerful slash, but it lacks flexibility. Su Tsang's attack was extremely powerful. In just one breath, Axe Hand Minka had already expended a lot of energy. Oh my god! Colonel Minka was beaten unilaterally. Minka was almost killed. At this time, Bellum had grabbed Kabi with a pistol. He said to Kabi's head, "Stop. If you don't stop, I will shoot." With Luffy and Zoro here, Su Tsang doesn't have to worry about Kabi at all. Colonel Minka, it's time for you to fall. Su Tsang then materialized the demon behind him, and the demon behind him became more and more physical. Then Su Tsang slapped out with a palm. Axeman Minka also raised his axe and wanted to hit it hard. In the end, only a sound was heard. Boom! Minka's hand axe was so broken, and the last thought he had while awake was, "Impossible? Impossible." Immediately afterwards, he was knocked away and passed out. As for the other Marines, they did not dare to resist. After all, there was nothing they could do to deal with Zoro alone, let alone two widows like Luffy and Su Tsang. Thank you, Su Tsang. Thank you, Zoro. Luffy thanked him. No problem, Captain. Zoro smiled slightly. Do I still need to thank you? I am also the captain. Su Tsang looked at Luffy, and the two of them smiled at each other. If anyone still wants to arrest us, please name them. Zoro looked at the Marines around him and said. Unexpectedly, as soon as he finished speaking, all the Marines dropped their guns and knives in excitement. Great! Finally, I don't have to be controlled by Minka. Long live Marine! Marvelous! It turns out that Marine was also tortured by Colonel Monka, but now everyone feels a sense of relief. I'm hungry. After Zoro said that, he fainted and fell to the ground. This guy! Ha! Next, Su Tsang, Luffy and Kabi took Zoro to find the little girl. The little girl's mother made a big meal to thank Zoro and celebrate the fall of Colonel Monka. After everyone finished eating, Zoro chatted. So how many companions have you summoned now? I remember you said you were gathering companions, right? Since you declared to be One Piece, you must have gathered many companions, right? Zoro asked innocently. No, besides Su Tsang, it's you. Luffy said directly. Ah? Can 3 people become a pirate team? Zoro asked in shock. What does it matter? We are so strong? Luffy said. Su Tsang also echoed. We only recruit real companions, people who have dreams, goals, and special skills. If not, at least drink and eat meat. You must be happy. That's right. Luffy nodded and said. This guy's name is Su Tsang. He is our captain. I am also the captain, but he is very strong. By the way, what's going on with that knife of yours? Zoro was very interested in Su Tsang's knife. Since we are companions, can I let you see it? Su Tsang gave the knife to Zoro very grandly. Zoro observed it carefully and finally pulled it out, but he still didn't see what the knife was. The quality is very good, but I have never seen this knife. Could it be the legendary Supreme Sharp Knife? Zoro asked. No, but the quality is not inferior to the Supreme Knife. Actually, what matters is not the sword, but the person wielding the sword. Su Tsang suddenly remembered a very classic line and said it. Well, we must discuss it when we get the chance. Zoro then asked. Where is our ship? There. Su Tsang pointed, and Zoro felt relieved after seeing the pretty good ship outside the window. Everyone chatted for a while, and finally Marine entered the place. Although you have dealt with the violent Colonel Minka, but knowing that you are pirates, please leave quickly. Marine finally planned to drive everyone away. However, Kirby was eventually beaten up by Luffy, and Marine finally realized that they were not the same person. In this way, the three returned to the ship and left Shields Town. Before leaving, KB thanked Luffy and Suit Sang for everything they had done for him, but the ship was already drifting away towards the sea. What is different from the original work is that thanks to Suit Sang, the ship is at least still on the correct route. This time, the East China Sea is calm and calm. However, I don't know if it is a coincidence, but there is no food on the ship again. On this day, Luffy planned to eat the bird in the sky out of 10, but the final result was that Luffy was snatched away by the bird. Suit Sang quickly increased the speed of the boat to the maximum in an attempt to catch up with Luffy. However, at this time, the cry for help from the drowning person came from above the sea. "What is that?" Zoro saw the drowning person in the sea. "I don't have time to save you now, come up on your own." In the end, the person who fell into the water had to climb onto the boat in embarrassment. As soon as they got on the boat, these guys were ready to rob the boat. Naturally, Zoro taught them how to behave. Although Suit Sang chased them desperately, one was in the sea and the other was flying in the sky. Naturally, no matter how hard he tried, he could not catch up. However, when he saw the two drowned people who had been taught by Zoro to be human, Suit Sang naturally saw the symbol of the clown Buggy on their bodies, so he couldn't help but ask, "Your boss should be Buggy the Clown? Yes or no?" Yes, the two clown Buggy's men said very nervously. "If my guess is correct, the treasure on your ship should have been stolen by an orange-haired woman, right?" Suit Sang asked, looking into their eyes. The two of them looked at each other, and then immediately said, "That's right. How did you know? It was the thief who stole our treasure and our boat. As a result, we accidentally encountered a storm. Then the ship sank. We soaked in the sea for a long time." Buggy's men said it was very miserable, but it didn't make Suit Sang feel their pity. "Okay, you just need to tell me where Buggy the Clown is, and I will spare your lives," Suit Sang said very generously. "Ah? Aren't you going to find Luffy?" Zoro was also a little confused about the situation. "The place where Buggy is the only island nearby, and Luffy is most likely there," Suit Sang explained, and Zoro understood instantly. "That's right. You too. Come and show the way." Zoro was very rude to the two of them, and they were so frightened that they hurriedly showed the way. After a while, under the guidance of two Buggy's men, the two finally arrived at this town. Suit Sang glanced around and said, "Let's go, let these two guys lead the way to find Buggy." Under the leadership of two Buggy's men, Suit Sang and Zoro naturally arrived at Buggy's base camp effortlessly. Zoro and Suit Sang saw the crisis of the situation at a glance. At this moment, a cannon was aimed at Luffy. A woman with orange hair was extinguishing the fuse with her hands, and three pirates jumped directly into the air, and then all slashed at the woman. Zoro took action instantly, knocking three pirates to the ground just by using the scabbard. At this time, Suit Sang had also arrived at Luffy's side. Luffy shouted in surprise, "Zoro! Suit Sang!" And the orange-haired girl is naturally called the little thieving cat, Nami. "Hey, you're not hurt, are you? What's wrong with you? I thought you were picked up by a bird, but you were put in a cage again." Zoro didn't understand the situation for a while. "In short, our enemy now should be Buggy the Clown, right?" Suit Sang asked. But at this time, not many people in the Buggy Pirates noticed Suit Sang, but stared at Zoro in shock. After all, Zoro is already well known in the East China Sea, and is known as the monster among bounty hunters. Suit Sang, on the other hand, was just a kid who had just gone to sea. "Is this Zoro the companion he was talking about? And this black-haired boy?" Nami said in surprise. At this time, Buggy spoke. "What are you doing here? Could it be that you want to take my head?" "No, I'm not interested. I don't want to be a pirate hunter anymore," Zoro said calmly. "But I am very interested in you. As long as I kill you, I will be famous all over the world," Buggy the Clown said arrogantly. "Farewell, you will die," Zoro said very powerfully. "Really?" Buggy the Clown responded, the flying knife in his hand already starting to rotate. Don't you understand even if I say it? Zoro sighed, feeling very anxious. At this time, Buggy was also ready to fight Zoro. But seeing Zoro's impatience, Su Tseng naturally stood up. Zoro, you go rescue Luffy first. This guy is a devil fruit user, let me deal with it. Su Tseng took a step forward very low-key, staring at Buggy the Clown. Who are you? Are you worthy of fighting against me, Lord Buggy? Buggy seemed to look down on Su Tseng very much. Su Tseng responded. You can't even defeat a nobody like me, let alone Zoro. Big Red Nose. Su Tseng's last sentence was a surefire move. After hearing it, Buggy the Clown exploded completely and couldn't stand it anymore. Buggy the Clown immediately burst out. Asshole! You guy actually said that I want to kill you! Buggy rushed over very simply. Su Tseng also drew out his Zanpakuto for the first time. As soon as such a sharp weapon was drawn out, Buggy's body was instantly cut into pieces. However, at this time, the shouts of all the pirates did not stop. No way! Isn't this guy too vulnerable? Zoro also felt a little incredible. So weak! Luffy also couldn't figure out the situation. The captain was killed, but they are still laughing. What does this mean? Nami can't understand it either. However, Su Tseng naturally knew Buggy's true ability, but he kept a low profile and didn't say anything about it. At this moment, Buggy's hand suddenly came from behind. Now! A pair of huge demon wings stretched out from Su Tseng's back. What? Buggy the Clown was shocked. What is this? Nami, who had never seen Su Tseng's ability before, was completely shocked. This pair of huge demon wings directly covered Su Tseng's back completely, making it impossible for Buggy the Clown's flying knife to penetrate. The laughter of the pirates watching the show stopped suddenly at this time. They simply could not accept the scene in front of them. This guy ate the fruit of splitting people. However, I am also a devil who ate a devil fruit. Let's see who has the better fruit ability between us, right? After Su Tseng finished speaking, a pair of wings bounced outwards heavily. Even though Buggy wanted to control his split body, he was still knocked away by Su Tseng's wings due to his too much power. The pirates were all dumbfounded. Their powerful Lord Buggy was knocked away by another mysterious boy with fruit power as soon as they came face to face with him. Captain Buggy! Are you okay? Lord Buggy! All the pirates expressed concern. It's amazing! I didn't expect this black-haired boy to be so powerful, Nami said in surprise. How disgusting! Buggy the Clown was not seriously injured. He got up and cursed. No one of you can escape today! That's not what you have the final say! Su Tseng appeared in front of Buggy in the next moment. Before Buggy could react, Su Tseng had already kicked Buggy. And when Buggy planned to use Split to fight Su Tseng directly used his naturalization ability. Paramecia versus Logia. In the early stages of the pirate world, the result is almost unchanged. In other words, Buggy can only be beaten passively, but Su Tseng can remain unscathed. While Su Tseng was fighting Buggy, Zoro looked at Nami and asked, Luffy, who is that guy? He's our navigator, Luffy said with a smile, looking at Nami as if he were looking at his companion. Luffy, get ready! Zoro reminded, and then pushed the cage containing Luffy from the roof of the building. At this time, the clown Buggy finally recovered and cursed. These 4 guys dared to underestimate me. They must have come to declare war on me. Immediately afterwards, reinforcements appeared on Buggy's side, and a human figure and a beast figure appeared at the same time. Are you here? Machi? Buggy said while looking at the human and beast figures. This person is naturally Buggy's cadre, the animal trainer. The animal trainer Machi was naturally very interested in the famous bounty hunter Zoro, so he said, Let me get the head of Roronoa Zoro! Okay. Leave this guy to me. Buggy, the clown, naturally regarded Su Tseng in front of him as his opponent. I really can't believe that you are also a devil fruit user, but I have never heard of any devil fruit in this world. Buggy the Clown also shook his head. Boy! No matter what, you have to explain it to me today. Buggy the Clown was very taboo about others talking about his big red nose, but Su Tsang decided to anger Buggy. Split into pieces! The clown Buggy once again used his devil fruit ability, and his body was divided into hands, feet, and head, which looked very weird. He held a flying knife in his hand and rushed towards Su Tsang quickly. When Su Tsang saw this, he still felt calm in his heart. Although they are both devil fruit power users, there are too many differences between the fruits. Buggy's Paramecia has a split fruit and can only be considered average, with both weaknesses and strengths. However, Su Tsang's fruit is the legendary Super Devil Fruit. A fruit of this level can be said to be a fruit that combines the advantages of Logia, Paramecia, and animal types. Therefore, when Su Tsang faced Buggy, he just naturalized and easily avoided Buggy's attack. Afterwards, Su Tsang directly used his demonic hands to hold several parts of Buggy's body firmly in his hands. Although Buggy can be broken into pieces, he cannot let his already divided body break apart again. In other words, the main reason why Buggy fell apart was because of his flexibility, but Su Tsang directly pinched Buggy's body tightly, which was equivalent to completely imprisoning Buggy's body. Then Buggy is left with a head, which has almost no use. Fruit in pieces? Maybe it's a fruit with great potential, but you can't defeat me just now. After Su Tsang finished speaking, he found a rope and quickly separated all parts of Buggy's body. Tie separately. Immediately afterwards, Su Tsang stretched out his slender arm again. No! Buggy seemed to know Su Tsang's plan. Su Tsang slowly walked up to the cannon, and then used brute force to force Buggy's body into the cannon. Finally, Su Tsang lit the fuse. Stab! Boom! Just like this, Buggy's body completely disappeared into the orange town. Ah! The others looked at Su Tsang again, and they no longer had the same contempt as before. They were terrified. As a devil fruit user, Captain Buggy of the Buggy Pirates was easily defeated by the people in front of them. Su Tsang's men, let alone them? Therefore, they immediately dispersed like a tree, and soon dispersed. Su Tsang shook his head and said, With such a powerful devil fruit, I am really invincible in the East China Sea. I just don't know what potential my fruit will have in the future. Can it deal with those masters with domineering power? Just when Su Tsang was about to jump off the tower and look for Luffy, Zoro and others, a voice once again pulled Su Tsang to the other side. Ding ding ding! Congratulations, host! You have arrived in Orange Town! Congratulations on your successful sign-in! The system gives you the bloodline of the Hokage ninja world, the Indra bloodline. The first one you awaken is the Sharingan. Of course, the Sharingan given to you by the system currently only has one Magatama. If you accumulate more check-in locations, you can automatically upgrade the Sharingan's ability. What about Shan Magatama Sharingan? Su Tsang thought about it for a moment. In the Hokage world, Sharingan can be said to be a very famous blood successor. If it continues to evolve, it will not only have the power of Mangekyo, but also the ability of the Samsara Eye. After knowing the power of Sharingan, Su Tsang was naturally very satisfied. The first half of the East China Sea and the Great Channel was enough to upgrade Sharingan. After all, there were no strong opponents here. Should I be able to open my eyes now? Sharingan! Open! Su Tsang then felt his eyes were itchy. After looking for a mirror, he saw his own scarlet eyes in the mirror, with a single Magatama in them. However, Su Tsang was not that comfortable. He could feel a magical power flowing from his body. And this power seems to be different from the power that uses fruit abilities in the pirate world. I see. It seems that there is no such thing as a pie in the sky. Everything has its pros and cons. Although the single Magatama Sharingan will benefit my battle, it will consume my chakra. But the chakra doesn't seem to be much. It seems that I have to try to condense and refine chakra in the future, otherwise I won't be able to use any special ninjutsu that the system will reward in the future. After closing Sharingan, Su Tsang jumped directly from the tower. When he reached the ground, he already knew what had just happened. Due to Su Tseng's intervention, Zoro was not attacked by the clown buggy and was therefore not injured. At this time, Zoro is fighting with the animal trainer Machi and his big lion. "Oh? Did you kill the guy named Buggy?" Zoro was fighting, and the person speaking was Luffy, who looked harmless. "Killed? Speaking of Luffy, why haven't you come out yet?" Su Tseng said in confusion. "No, right after we came down, these guys showed up, and Zoro naturally fought with them." Luffy pointed at Zoro. At this time, Zoro happened to be beaten next to Luffy's cage. After noticing Su Tseng, he said, "Leave these two guys to me, Su Tseng. You can find a way to release Luffy." Su Tseng patted his head speechlessly and said, Okay, don't take too long, otherwise I will despise you." Luffy then looked at Su Tseng and said, "This cage is very hard, can it be broken? Try it. After all, my attacks have always been punches and kicks. This time, let's try my knife." Su Tseng's eyes narrowed, and he gently opened the knife on his waist, and then used it very quickly. He pulled it out at a fast speed. "Tsang Lang!" That was the sound of drawing a sword out of its sheath. Just by hearing the sound, I knew that this knife was definitely not ordinary. Su Tseng finally swung the knife out, and the extremely sharp blade cut through the outermost railing of the cage like cutting tofu. "Lower your head!" Su Tseng's reminder seemed to be a little too late. After all, the sword had already been swung out. At this critical moment, Luffy grabbed the railing above with both hands and immediately jumped up using his own elasticity. "It's really exciting, haha," Luffy said with a harmless smile. "It scared me to death. I thought it was going to end." Su Tseng was also very frightened. The knife he just struck almost killed Luffy. Who would have thought that his Zanpakuto would be so sharp? "Okay. Now that I'm out, leave this guy to me." Luffy was full of fighting spirit at this time, and naturally planned to join forces with Zoro to fight against the trainer Machi and his lion Leaky. As soon as Luffy rushed out, the orange-haired girl suddenly appeared behind Su Tseng. "Let me tell you, your name is Su Tseng?" The person who spoke was naturally the orange-haired Nami, and she felt a little embarrassed at this time. After all, it was all Nami's fault. "Yes, I'm Su Tseng. Is there something wrong, Nami?" Su Tseng turned around and asked. "Ah?" Nami was a little surprised and immediately asked, "How do you know my name? I don't seem to have introduced myself, right?" "Well, Buggy said it," Su Tseng replied. "I see. By the way, how is Buggy?" Nami asked. "Buggy has already been knocked away by me. For a pirate of this level, killing him is no problem," Su Tseng said lightly, then took 2 steps towards Nami, stared at her and asked, "I see you really care. Is this the one you want?" Su Tseng took out a blueprint, which was a chart of the Great Waterway. Originally, the sea map should have been in Buggy's hands, but Nami seemed to have taken it away, but in the end it seemed to have been taken away by Buggy again. After killing Buggy, the map naturally returned to Su Tseng's hands. "Well," Nami nodded, pretending to be very cute, and said, "Brother, can you give me the chart of the Great Channel? I really need this thing." Seeing this, Su Tseng naturally pretended to be surprised and asked, "You? Why do you need this chart? Didn't the one named Luffy say that?" "I am our navigator. In this case, I naturally need this chart the most," Nami said half-truthfully. Su Tseng didn't expose it, but nodded and said, "I see. If it's one of our own, then it doesn't matter." Su Tseng handed the sea chart to Nami easily, but the words he said made Nami tremble all over. "I said, Nami, next time you go to see Eren, tell me and I can help you take care of him, right? The weather conditions in the Great Channel are so bad that this chart is actually useless." Nami was naturally very vigilant. She immediately picked up a stick she carried with her and took a defensive stance. What do you know?" Nami asked again, but she stepped back unconsciously and changed her angle, trying to make Su Tseng ignore the Dragon Pirate's logo on her shoulder. "Me? Just pretend that I don't know anything. The captain is Luffy. He has the final say where to go, but I think he will help you. Su Tseng then walked towards the road on his own. Fly away, leaving Nami stunned. At this time, Luffy and Zoro had already arrived at the door of a pet store. The little white dog in front of the pet shop belonged to the owner of the pet shop. However, one day the owner died, but the little white dog still watched the shop loyally. The big lion Li Ji's intrusion was blocked by the puppy, but the puppy blocked the car with its mantis arms and was easily beaten away. In the end, Luffy helped the puppy block the trainer and the lion. But at this time, there was an acrobat among the enemies. It was obvious that this person was a remnant of the Buggy Pirates. These two people are considered the leaders of the Buggy Pirates. Luffy and Zoro participated in the battle at the same time, and their strength gradually increased. The two quickly became familiar with the opponent's attack mode, and finally used their own advantages to defeat the opponent without the ability to fight back. The final result is obvious. Luffy defeated the trainer and the lion, and Zoro defeated the acrobat. As for Buggy, the big boss clown who was supposed to appear, he had already been beaten away by Su Tseng. It can be said that Luffy, Zoro, and Su Tseng not only protected the pet shop and the little white dog, but also protected the entire Orange Town. Finally, the three returned to the port, lifted anchor and set sail, and left this Orange Town. Of course, this time they have one more person to accompany them on their journey, and that is Nami. Then we are partners! Luffy was very happy that Nami joined. Zoro was also very happy to see Luffy being bullied by Nami. However, only Su Tseng could feel it, and Nami and he were wary of each other. However, Su Tseng concealed this caution very well. At this moment, the three of them still believed in Nami's navigation skills and let her lead them to the next island. Somehow, I hardly encountered any bad weather while sailing with Nami. What's going on? Su Tseng couldn't help asking. Is it luck? Nami shook his head and explained. The weather in a certain area is very bad. I generally won't go to that area. On the sea, as long as you know your direction, you can avoid it. Of course, some skills only apply to the East China Sea. Sure enough, having a good navigator is different. It's better than following two headless flies, Zoro said while looking at Luffy and Su Tseng. You said we are headless flies? Su Tseng secretly despised Zoro. Among all One Piece, the most famous road idiot, at this moment, has the nerve to say that others. It is said that when fighting Zoro, as long as you step back a few meters, Zoro will not be able to find you. Although it is a bit nonsense, it also shows the attributes of Sudalichi. During the voyage, Luffy loved to eat and play, Nami was naturally responsible for sailing, Zoro slept and exercised when he had nothing to do, and Su Tseng locked himself in a house alone without talking. I feel it. That's it. At this time, in the cabin, a young man's body burst out with blue energy. This kind of energy is difficult to describe, and people in this world can hardly sense it. It is a kind of energy that is completely different from this world. A kind of energy chakra. That's right, Su Tseng is in the cabin and has been studying the condensed chakra. Although this was more difficult for Su Tseng gradually found the feeling. He could now condense and refine chakra. This was a big progress. Just as Su Tseng was preparing for the next step of exploration and training, the voices of Nami and others came up. Su Tseng walked out of the cabin and found that the ship had arrived at a new island. The boat docked on the beach and the four people got off the boat. It's been a long time since I got off the ship. Luffy stretched his limbs. Will there be a small village here? Nami looked at the map and said, It seems there is. Luffy then drooled and said, Wow! Then meat! There should be delicious food in that village, right? The food on the ship was naturally supplied before, and Luffy had long been tired of it. Nami rolled her eyes at Luffy and said, Can you eat less meat? Ah! Zoro felt the comfort and yawned. The surrounding beaches were quiet and pleasant, but Zoro immediately felt something was wrong. He gently flicked the knife in his hand and said, Be careful, there is someone's breath. Where? Where? Luffy was completely unprepared. Su Tsang looked around and roughly knew where these people were. Danger! Zoro shouted, and then countless stones bounced from high places to Luffy's feet, and Luffy hurriedly started to avoid them. At this time, countless pirate flags were erected in the dense grass on the hill. Wow! That's awesome! Luffy said with great admiration. Is now the time to admire others? Nami couldn't help complaining. At this moment, a man was already standing on the top of the hill, saying majestically, I am Usopp, who leads the great pirate group that rules over this village. People praise me very much and call me ours. Captain Usopp. If you want to attack this village, I advise you to give up. Because my 80 million subordinates will not let you go. The person speaking was naturally Usopp, the most bragging among One Piece. Among the four, only Luffy was so surprised that he shouted like crazy. It's amazing. However, Nami immediately questioned. Is this a lie? When Usopp saw someone questioning, he said directly, I was found out. Immediately afterwards, the three brats were also spotted by Nami and ran away. Seeing this, Su Tsang didn't want to waste any more time, so he took a step forward and said, Usopp, right? Don't be afraid, we are not your enemies. Do you think I will believe it? Usopp was still a little defensive. Your father's name is Jesus Boo, right? Is he a subordinate of the red-haired Shanks? After Su Tsang said it, Usopp's defensiveness was much lessened. I see, I said he looks very similar, so that's it. Luffy said. I saw Jesus' cloth when I was a kid. After resolving the misunderstanding, Usopp naturally invited Luffy, Su Tsang and others to enter the village and have a feast. They both chatted for a while, and before they knew it, they talked about the villa on the mountain. Well, I suddenly forgot something. I'm going to do something first. Usopp then left in a hurry. Luffy, Su Tsang and others were left behind. What did this guy do? He was in a panic. Nami also thought he was very strange. Su Tsang then said directly, Luffy, what do you think of Usopp? Very good. I like it very much. Luffy nodded. You mean invite him to be our partner? Luffy asked. Yes, but before that, we have to do something. Su Tsang said mysteriously. What happened? Everyone was confused. Just follow me. Su Tsang then left here and walked straight towards the mountain. Soon, everyone arrived at the door of the huge villa on the mountain. There are many guards in black at the entrance of the villa. It is really difficult for ordinary people to enter without anyone noticing. However, Su Tsang, as a devil fruit user, stretched out his wings and carried everyone into the garden. Is this your ability? Although Nami knew how powerful Su Tsang was, she had never felt Su Tsang's power so close. Even though we got in so smoothly, what are we going to do? Luffy asked. Yes, Su Tsang, just say what you want to do. Zoro was also a little anxious. Su Tsang then told what he knew. It's like this. There once was a pirate group called the Black Cat Pirates. Captain Crow was an extremely smart and ruthless pirate. In order to obtain greater wealth, he quietly sneaked into a wealthy family, eventually became a housekeeper, and secretly killed the master of the family. Now he is planning to murder the young lady of the family. Captain Crow, I seem to have an impression, but it is said that he has been killed. Zoro is somewhat knowledgeable. Back then, Crow killed all the pirates who were chasing him, and only one marine was left. He stepped on that guy's jaw, and then used the power of his hypnosis division to hypnosis him, making him mistake him for a fighter. The person Captain Lo resembles is Crow himself. At the same time, he also turned into a marine with a violent temper. This marine was eventually upgraded to a Colonel Marine. Luffy and Zoro should all know about it. Su Tsang naturally told the truth. Is it? Zoro said in disbelief. Is it Minka? Yes. Su Tsang nodded. Then where is this Crow you are talking about now? Luffy asked quickly. Could it be? Nami looked at the villa and seemed to have guessed it. Yes, Nami's guess is good. Captain Crow's alias is Crow Bartle. He is currently the housekeeper of this family, And Usopp should like the young lady of this family, Suitsing said. So, this lady is in danger? Shouldn't we save her immediately? Luffy asked. Suitsang shook his head and said, We are pirates, no one will believe what we say unless. Suitsang then told everyone his strategy. But Luffy asked, Is this really good? If this person is not the pirate you said, wouldn't we have gone too far? Suitsang smiled, and then he suddenly attacked Luffy and Zoro. Although the two were unprepared, they naturally dodge and defend when they encountered attacks. Suitsing then said, You see, normal people will not have such good skills and reactions. We will soon know whether what I said is true or false, so just do as I say. Everyone suddenly understood and nodded, agreeing with Suitsang's approach. At this time, in the back garden, Usopp was telling Kai a story, but Crow had discovered it. Crow was trying every means to provoke Usopp, and after Usopp was finally humiliated, he impulsively planned to attack Crow. And this just plays into Crow's hands. In the end, Crow drove Usopp away. At this time, Suitsang suddenly appeared in front of Usopp and Crow. Hello? Suitsang? Why are you here? Usopp was also very confused and surprised. He didn't know how Suitsang found this place, nor what Suitsang planned to do. Suitsang walked slowly to Crow with a sullen face. Who are you? What are you doing for breaking into a private residence without permission? Crow said pretentiously. The captain of the Black Cat Pirates, Baiji Crow, am I right? Suitsang's words made Crow's eyes tremble. I didn't understand what you said. Crow hid his emotion very well, still showing the look of a butler. Pirate. You said the butler is a pirate. Usopp was also shocked. Although he hated the butler, he didn't know it. It's impossible. Klobul is a good man, how could he be a pirate? Miss Kaya naturally didn't believe it. How can a noble person like me be a humble pirate? Pirates like you actually want to use lies to smear me? No one will believe it. Crow still pretended and took advantage of the situation. He adjusted his glasses with his palms. I said, although he went a little too far, he shouldn't be a pirate, right? Usopp also couldn't believe it. Suitsang snorted coldly and said, CLO, if others don't know you, how can I not know you? The reason why you hold your glasses up like this is because of your long nails, right? Suitsang then said, Many years ago, you killed my parents. I saw the way you killed the killer in pain, but because I hid well and no one found me. Suitsang was naturally talking nonsense. He just wanted to understand Claude through himself, and force him to reveal his flaws in advance. Immediately afterwards I heard that you were captured by a man named Minka. However, that man was not you at all. It was obvious that one of your hypnosis masters had hypnosis him. There was already a trace of panic in Crow's heart in front of him. After all, this was a plan that had been planned for many years. Except for his closest subordinates, no one else knew about it at all. But Crow never expected that someone would discover his guy. Seeing that his plan and conspiracy were about to be exposed, and Crow couldn't expose the fact that he was a pirate, the only thing he could do was to interrupt Suitsang's speech. Asshole! Stop being so messy! It's just a habit of mine to adjust my glasses. What you are talking about is nonsense. I have never heard of it at all. If you don't leave, I will call the guards. Crow once again suppressed his inner desire to kill Suitsang. And this time Kaya spoke. Usopp, take your friends and leave. I won't allow you to smear Kloppa like this again. Suitsang, let's go. Naturally, Usopp can't provide any evidence. Suitsang's words for so long are only one-sided and untenable. In the end, everyone had to leave the villa. However, just as he was about to leave, Suitsang looked at Crow and shouted loudly, Chloe! Tomorrow night, at the beach. Let's settle it, otherwise I will announce your identity to everyone in the village and say come up with your plan. Crow snorted coldly and said, I will not make any agreement with a pirate, and the people in the village will not believe the lies of a pirate like you. Suitsang then left with everyone. After leaving, only Usopp didn't figure out what happened, so he kept asking. If my guess is correct, your Miss Kaya will most likely be killed by Klobel tonight. Su Tseng said confidently. Ah. Impossible. Why would he do this? Usopp couldn't figure it out, and neither could anyone else. If I am Crow, and my identity is revealed by a stranger, I must do something. Two options. The first one is to secretly kill this stranger and try to maintain the relationship with Miss Kaya, and then choose the right time to kill Kaya and embezzle all the property. The second option is to think that the time is ripe and there is no need to lurk anymore. Just kill Kaya and then kill this stranger to seal the secret. Then it is justifiable to inherit the property. Of course, in order to give Crow time, I specifically told him that we will get married tomorrow. Therefore, I estimate that Miss Kaya will be killed by Crow tonight. Su Tseng said very firmly. After hearing Su Tseng's words, Usopp naturally didn't believe it at first. Tonight, we will lurk in Kaya's dormitory in advance. Then we will know what the result will be. Su Tseng said seriously. It was getting dark soon, and Su Tseng used his devil fruit ability to sneak into the villa very easily. With Usopp's help, Su Tseng found Miss Kaya's dormitory. Miss Kaya was naturally not in a good mood, and she was crying. But it was a good opportunity for everyone to sneak in. Everyone quietly got under Kaya's bed and into Kaya's closet. Although due to carelessness, Kaya almost discovered everyone, but in the end she managed to hide in the seats agreed upon in advance. As time went by, Kaya fell asleep in bed. At this time, a person entered Kaya's room. The man's eyes were shining with light, and the long blade in his hand was extremely sharp. Usopp was also shocked when he saw this. Shh! Su Tseng immediately made a shushing gesture, signaling Usopp not to make any noise or be anxious. Crow placed his blade on top of Kaya. He didn't know what he was waiting for, and seemed to be hesitating. The blood on the blade had already proven who Crow had killed. At this moment, a figure suddenly rushed out from under the bed and attacked Crow. As one of the top 5 pirates in the East China Sea with bounty, Crow's reaction was naturally extremely fast. He immediately pulled away and started to resist. But the person who slashed him was naturally no ordinary person, but the swordsman Zoro. Everyone crawled out at this moment, and Usopp also woke up Kaya. When Kaya saw the blood on Crobat's hand and saw the vigorous fight between him and Zoro, she naturally didn't dare. Believing. The cunning Crow knocked Zoro away with a claw, and then pretended to say, "Miss, these people are here to kill you." They also killed Mary. Mary is naturally another butler who serves Kaya, and is also the designer of the famous Golden Mary. Kaya didn't know who to trust at this time. After all, the person she trusted the most was the housekeeper. However, the situation made her very confused. What is unexpected is that Meili actually climbed up here from the position where he was originally attacked, and said desperately, "Miss, it's not like this. Klobedel. I was injured by that guy. He is a pirate." After Mary finished speaking, Crow no longer wanted to hide it. "Really? We were almost successful, but suddenly the situation was disrupted by you little characters. Are you really lucky? You happened to see this scene? But it doesn't matter, everyone here will die tonight." Claude finally stopped covering up. "Yes, I am the captain of the Black Cat Pirates, Baiji Chiao. I am definitely not something that a small role like you can shake. Tomorrow morning, my pirate group will attack, and you will have no hope at all. How could this happen? It's impossible." Miss Kaya's heart almost collapsed. At this time, Su Tseng couldn't help but laugh. "Ha ha." Everyone's attention was attracted by Su Tseng. "Why are you laughing? I didn't expect you to still be in the mood to laugh before you died?" Crow also smiled coldly, very viciously. "I'm laughing at you for not overestimating your capabilities," Su Tseng said. "I have known your plan for a long time. All this was arranged just to let Miss Kaya recognize you." So? So what? Even if you recognize me, as long as you are killed by me, you will know nothing," Crow said. "You stupid people, if you really discovered my identity early, you should have announced my plan and identity from the beginning. And now stupidity will kill you all." Crow laughed coldly. Crow was very confident and never worried that he would lose. Su Tseng said without fear. Stupid? I don't think so. On the contrary, you might die here tonight. Ha! How funny! Crow looked like he could start a fight at any time. The results will be announced soon. Su Tseng said calmly. Wow! An angry shout broke the deadlock between the two. What was unexpected was that it was not Su Tseng who took action, but Luffy. At this time, after Luffy learned of Crow's conspiracy, his hatred for Crow reached the maximum. He punched Crow and knocked Crow out of the window with a bang. Crow could feel the momentum of Zoro and Su Tseng, but he was unprepared for Luffy. This was the first time Luffy showed his skills, and he stretched out his arms in an instant, catching Crow off guard. Quick, please save Mary. At this time, Kaya's attention is on Mary in her arms. Usopp and Nami were temporarily responsible for treating Mary and comforting Kaya. As for Zoro, Su Tseng, and Luffy, they came to the courtyard, and the three of them surrounded Crow. Crow looked at Luffy and said, I see, is this the ability you rely on? The ability of the devil fruit? As long as I can kill you. Zoro naturally showed his ability as a swordsman three-sword style. Su Tseng, on the other hand, had no posture, which made Crow feel more dangerous. In that case, I won't be polite. Crow didn't hide it, he closed his eyes directly, and the steps of his feet began to be like a phantom. Silent step. This is Crow's special move, be careful. Su Tseng reminded. At the same time, Su Tseng shouted, Sharingan, open! Then Shan Magatama's Sharingan opens. Although Shan Magatama is not as powerful as Sharingan in other forms, it has also improved his observation ability. Su Tseng can probably figure out Crow's attack trajectory. Coupled with Su Tseng's fruit ability, this allows him to completely deal with Crow. Attack. Although Crow's move is very strong, he cannot control the target of the attack, so it is easy to hurt his own people. However, the current Luffy and Zoro were temporarily suppressed. You have no idea what a real pirate is. I will let you know how terrifying pirates who have been in and out of hell several times are. Luffy and Zoro were getting more and more injured, and Luffy finally couldn't bear it anymore. You bastard! You don't know anything about pirates! You don't even know how to cherish your companions! How can you make irresponsible remarks on me? Luffy shouted. Miss Kaya, she is just a tool. She is a stepping stone for me to successfully seize her family property. It is just a part of the plan. I never regarded her as one of my own. Kaya's heart was completely disappointed by Crow's words. Luffy finally took advantage of the moment he was injured to grab Crow and threw him heavily to the ground. Humph! Do you think this will hurt me? Captain Crow saw this and used the spoon again. At this moment, Luffy suddenly rose up and used the properties of his rubber fruit to tightly wrap around Crow's body. Damn it! Let me go! You bastard! Luffy locked his upper body tightly with Crow, so naturally he could no longer use the spoon. Now your 3-year plan has completely failed. Luffy had already begun to prepare for the final blow. My plan! It will never fail! Crow said enthusiastically at the last moment. However, Luffy said at this time, Rubber Bell! He stretched his head back very far, and finally hit Crow's head firmly. Such a heavy blow killed Crow instantly. Crow fell to the ground and there was no more sound. I am Monkey D. Luffy! I will never lose to a pirate who gives up his name! Luffy said very domineeringly. Su Tseng originally wanted to take action, but seeing Luffy so excited, he naturally stepped aside with Zoro. Although Crow was killed, the matter was not over. Su Tseng then returned to Kaya's room with everyone and informed everyone about the matter. I will do my best to explain the matter to the villagers, and we can unite to fight against foreign enemies, Kaya said. However, Su Tseng, Zoro and others shook their heads and said, Forget it, just leave the rest to us. What about me? Luffy asked. You have defeated Crow, just leave the rest to us. Zoro also said as if his plot had succeeded. This time, I also want to protect everyone. Usopp and his 3 subordinates eventually planned to participate in this battle. The next day, when it was still dark, everyone poured oil on the 2 slopes for landing on the island, with Tsutsung on one side and Zoro on the other. The Black Cat pirates first landed on Zoro. However, they were unable to attack the island at all. However, they saw the ship of Tsutsung and others. A group of pirates directly used cannons to destroy the ship of Tsutsung and others, and then circled around. When they reached the other side of the island, they bumped into Tsutsung again. Tsutsung flew directly down the slope and beat the pirates until they were unable to fight back. The ones that Crow's men can fight are naturally the Catman brothers and Hypnosis Master Zhao. The Catman brothers united, seemingly powerful, but in front of Tsutsung, they were still a bit unsatisfied. Together with the single Magatama Sharingan, Tsutsung regarded the Catman brothers as a touchstone, improving his swordsmanship with one sword after another. Later, Tsutsung couldn't bear it anymore and directly activated the power of the Devil Fruit, severely injuring all the pirates and destroying their pirate ship. The Black Cat pirates were now scattered. As for the Hypnosis Master, Tsutsung directly knocked him away with a palm. At this point, the pirate invasion plan of Crow's Scylab village was completely shattered. And when Zoro came to the other side panting, the battle was already over. "Without you, the village would definitely not be able to defend itself," Usopp said with great gratitude. "No, if you didn't make up your mind, we wouldn't have done anything." "But those guys destroyed our ship," Zoro responded. "It doesn't matter, I have got everything back in advance, including the pirates' treasures." Nami took advantage of the enemy's battle to sneak into the enemy's ship and move all the treasures out. She was very proud at this time. "Haha! Usopp has never been in such a good mood." Looking at the blue sky and white clouds, Usopp said, "I take this opportunity to decide one thing. As a man, you should run towards the ocean. There is only one reason why I want to leave this village. The pirate flag is calling me. I want to become a real pirate." Everyone looked at each other and finally laughed. Unexpectedly, Tsutsung guessed the beginning and ending of the story. Usopp then said goodbye to his 3 subordinates, entrusted his will to them, and finally invited everyone to the restaurant for a big meal. At this time, Kaya found everyone and walked into the restaurant. "Please allow me to thank you. I have prepared a gift for you. It is a little bit of my heart. Please accept it," Kaya said kindly. Immediately afterwards, Miss Kaya led everyone over. Not surprisingly, what appeared in front of everyone was a light sailing ship. "Golden Mary!" Tsutsung was inevitably a little excited. After all, the ship in front of him was the ship of the Straw Hats. Fortunately, the previous ship was destroyed by the Black Cat pirates, otherwise, it is very likely that we would have missed the Golden Mary. Tsutsung thought to himself. When Luffy saw the ship in front of him, he was also very excited. Although he had been on a big ship before, somehow, this ship seemed to have an indescribable relationship with everyone, as if somehow, it's like there is a connection. "Is this really okay? Give it to us," Luffy asked excitedly. Melly, the housekeeper of Kaya's family, said, "Although the style is a bit old, this is the boat I designed. Thank you for your help. Not only did you save me, but you also saved the eldest lady. The name of this ship is the Golden Melly. It is a light sailing ship that uses a triangular sail and a stern center rudder. Let me explain the operation method. First of all, in terms of power start adjustment." Melly explained the operation method of the entire ship in detail. Tsutsung seemed to understand, but Luffy couldn't listen at all. However, the one who listened most attentively was naturally Nami. After all, Nami was the only navigator among the Straw Hats. Immediately afterwards, Usopp had already packed his huge luggage and rolled down the high hillside. "This guy is really annoying." Tsutsung then easily used the demon arm to completely stop Usopp. Miss Kaya looked at Usopp and waved goodbye after all. Usopp originally planned to set off on his own and become an independent pirate, but everyone naturally invited Usopp. In everyone's hearts, Usopp has long been regarded as their partner. Tsutsung still has a good impression of the talkative person in front of him. As a funny character, Usopp must not be missing from future adventures, otherwise it will be very boring. Finally, everyone set sail and sailed toward the boundless sea together. When Suit Sing left Zilyobu village, he once again received a prompt from his system. Ding ding ding! Congratulations, host! You have arrived at Zilyobu village and left successfully. Your sign-in was successful. The reward has been issued to you. 100 times swordsmanship comprehension card. You can use it at any time. It is valid for 24 hours. After Suit Sung heard what the system said, he immediately asked his own questions. System, before I arrived at my destination, you considered me signing in successfully. Why do you think I signed in successfully when I leave now? The system immediately replied. Let me explain. At the beginning, the sign-in system has just been activated, so naturally it has lowered its requirements for you. As you grow step by step, the requirements and difficulty of the sign-in system will gradually upgrade, and you will gradually face greater pressure and challenges, so that you can obtain more generous rewards. Suit Sung nodded, and then continued to ask. So, what is this Kendo Comprehension card? Can you explain it in detail? The system immediately replied. This card is a consumable item. When you use it, it will increase your understanding of the sword 100 times. Of course, the duration is 24 hours, which means that within 24 hours, you will have an explosive improvement in Kendo. The system recommends that you take a good rest in advance, and then devote yourself wholeheartedly to the practice of swordsmanship for 24 hours. This is the most beneficial way for you. Suit Sung nodded slightly and almost understood what the system meant. Well, it seems that if anyone disturbs me, I will lose more than I gain. In this case, I need to prepare in advance. Adventures at sea are actually boring sea voyages most of the time. There is nothing on the whole sea, it is endless. It would take some time to reach the next island, so Suit Sung told his companions on the ship that he needed to practice in seclusion. In this way, Suit Sung gained 24 hours of practice time. Suit Sung locked himself in his own lounge in the cabin and said, System, I want to use the Kendo Perception card now. Are you sure to use it? The system confirmed. Confirmed to use. Suit Sung nodded, and then, a spiritual light appeared in front of Suit Sungda inexplicably, and this light immediately enveloped Suit Sungda's body. At this time, Suit Sung only felt that his whole brain was very clear, and the sword in his hand seemed to be a little different. I see. Is this the power of the Kendo Enlightenment card? What is a sword? How to attack? How to defend? Countless questions began to evolve on their own in Suit Sungda's mind, and countless battle scenarios began to emerge in Suit Sungda's mind. In addition to the most basic sword moves and sword skills, Suit Sung also has a deeper understanding of the Tao above the sword. Suit Sung closed his eyes as if he was resting his mind, and time passed quickly like a fleeting moment. Dong dong dong. Suit Sung woke up when a knock on the door came from outside. I looked at the sky outside and saw no change at all. However, after playing the gate of opening, Suit Sung realized that it had been 3 days since he started using the Kendo Awareness card. At this moment, someone Suit Sung didn't recognize was already on the boat. Brother! Why are you here? The man looked at Zoro in front of him and said in surprise. Huh! Isn't Joseph with you? Zoro also recognized the identity of the person in front of him at a glance. And Suit Sung quickly guessed his identity, Zoro's younger brother, Johnny. The Joseph mentioned by Zoro is also Zoro's former younger brother like the man in front of him. However, Luffy and Usopp soon knew that they were in big trouble, because they had just practiced firing cannons and almost accidentally injured Joseph. Suit Sung looked at Joseph's livid face and looked at Nami. Naturally, Nami understood the situation. Isn't there some lime on the ship? Bring it quickly, Nami commanded. Usopp and Luffy quickly found some limes and squeezed them into orange juice for Joseph to drink. It's scurvy. It will be cured in a few days, Nami said. Wow! Really? Sister! Zoro's little brother Johnny had just finished speaking. Unexpectedly, Joseph was already able to dance with him, but soon he fainted on the boat again. After all, scurvy is not a problem. Maybe it will heal that quickly. Immediately afterwards, everyone fell into anxiety. When sailing on the sea, in addition to facing unknown navigation and powerful enemies, they even had to pay special attention to their diet. If no one prepares nutritious and balanced food for them, there will be many cases of scurvy. Su Tseng naturally guessed everyone's next plan. It seems like there should be an extra cook on the ship. After Su Tseng finished speaking, Luffy and others naturally nodded in approval. That's right. This way, you can eat delicious food in the sea, Usopp said excitedly. That's right. We need to find a sea chef as a partner, Luffy also said to everyone. At this time Zoro's younger brother Johnny said, If you want to find this kind of chef, I know a place. That's it. That's it. Where is it? Luffy also asked with great anticipation. However, it is very close to the Grand Waterway, and there are also rumors circulating there about the eagle-eyed man that Big Brother has been looking for. The heading is north-northeast, Johnny said seriously. Hey! Su Tseng grinned. He had already seen everyone's enthusiasm. The Golden Melly then moved forward at full speed according to the direction Johnny pointed. It didn't take long before you could see a magical-looking building on the sea. The full English name of Baratie is written on the front. The bow is in the shape of a fish mouth and the stern is in the shape of a fish tail. The entire restaurant is actually a ketch, but the boat is still very big. How's it going? Everyone! Johnny had already seen everyone's surprised expressions. Wow! What a big fish! Luffy said excitedly. However, at this time, there was an additional ship next to the Melly. This ship had the logo and name of Marine painted on the sail. It was a marine ship. Why is there a marine ship here? Joseph just came out of the cabin and saw the marine ship next to him. He was startled. He did not forget that the ship he was on was a pirate ship. Hey! Is he going to attack us? Usopp also asked nervously. I met a nasty guy. Zoro also felt something bad. He had already put his hand on his knife, looking like he was ready to fight at any time. Su Tseng said extremely calmly, Don't worry, this guy doesn't seem to have any intention of taking action. If he dares to take action, then I will let their ships sink in this sea forever. The people in the marine ship came out, looked at the Golden Melly, and then said, I am Marine Lieutenant Iron Fist Hobity. Who is the captain? Please tell me your name. I'm Luffy. Luffy stood up. I'm Usopp. Usopp also stood up. What the hell are these guys doing? Marine Lieutenant also found it very interesting. Huh! Those two guys over there? They seem to be bounty hunters who specialize in killing some weak pirates. What, were they finally caught by the pirates? Marine Lieutenant didn't have any intention of taking action, but just made sarcastic remarks. Road. Let's go quickly. A good-looking woman pulled Marine Lieutenant, and Marine Lieutenant turned around and ignored the straw hats. Johnny and Joseph were so angry that they directly threw out the pirate bounty they had compiled and said, Do you dare to say that this is the work of a bounty hunter who targets small people? The bounty lists were scattered on the deck. The one named Aaron with a bounty of 20 million belly was placed on the outside. The other people basically had X's on them, proving that these people were all killed by the duo. Nami naturally noticed the reward. Nami squatted on the ground and looked at Aaron's reward card. He was trembling and didn't know what he was thinking. Su Tseng naturally noticed this, and put his hand down on Nami's shoulder. Su Tseng didn't believe in the words of empathy. After all, he had never experienced the same pain as Nami. It was difficult for him to understand. He wanted to comfort Nami, and the best way was to follow the original plot and defeat the evil dragon. But at this time, everyone's attention was already on the marine ship beside them. The despising Marine Lieutenant has issued an order to sink the pirate ship. The opponent's cannonballs were already flying towards the Golden Melly very quickly. At this moment, Su Tseng couldn't care about so much. In a blink of an eye, the demon wings directly possessed him behind him. His speed was extremely fast, as if everything around him had slowed down. Su Tsang made a sound and pulled out his Zanpakuto, inexplicably feeling the slightest connection between the Zanpakuto and himself. Su Tsang did not stop, but directly swung the knife out. Immediately afterwards, a sword energy was cut out by Su Tsang. The green sword energy instantly split the entire cannon shell into two. Not only that, it also cut the cannon on the marine ship into two pieces. If it weren't for the slight deviation in the angle, the entire marine ship would have been sunk by Su Tsang's slash. Oh my God! Usopp opened his mouth wide and didn't know what to say. Luffy's eyes were shining with stars, and he said excitedly, "It's amazing!" Zoro's eyes showed a hint of shock. "Such a powerful slash! This guy's swordsmanship seems to have grown to a penultimate level. How is it possible? Is he so strong after being in seclusion for a day and a night? Then what does my training mean?" Su Tsang put away the sword in his hand and looked coldly at the marine soldiers on the other side's ship. At this moment, they were all stunned and did not dare to make any unnecessary moves. Marine Lieutenant naturally knew nothing about these things. At this time, he and the beautiful woman had already arrived in Baratie in a small boat. At Su Tsang's suggestion, Luffy and others directly attacked the marine ship next to them, destroying all the cannons on the marine ship, and easily dealt with all the marine people, ensuring that they would never attack. After the Mary, Johnny and Joseph were left to watch the ship. Everyone then took the boat and officially entered the sea restaurant, Baratie. As soon as he entered Baratie, he saw a man with blonde hair and black clothes and curly eyebrows smoking a cigarette. He was pinching the marine lieutenant he had just won. He looked very relieved. "Don't waste food on me. Going against the chef at sea is tantamount to asking for death. Remember this clearly. The blonde man is naturally the future chef of the Straw Hat Pirates, Sanji." Marine Lieutenant was not angry at all and threatened to destroy the ship. Naturally, he was once again met with Sanji's anger. However, other cooks from Baratie rushed out and caught Sanji. Soon the head chef Zepp showed up and not only beat Sanji, but also Marine Lieutenant. Marine Lieutenant simply couldn't understand how there could be such a domineering restaurant in the world that would attack its guests. But the matter did not end there. A sailor ran to Baratie and said, "Lieutenant, our ship was attacked by a pirate ship from the opposite side." Immediately afterwards, all the prisoners on the ship were let go. "What?" Marine Lieutenant was not angry, but asked in horror, "Then, where are Krieg's men?" "Escaped. In order to track down the whereabouts of Krieg and his gang, we sent out 7 people, and we finally caught them." "Impossible! We starved him for so many days and didn't give him anything to eat after that. Even if he was released, he wouldn't be able to escape alone." "What? Krieg? Isn't that the most powerful pirate group in the East China Sea?" The surrounding guests were horrified when they heard Krieg's name, and at this moment, a gunshot completely attracted their attention. Bang! One person at the door killed the Marine just now with one shot. Obviously, this person is Krieg's man. A man walked in, sat on the seat, and then said feebly, "Anything is fine, hurry up, serve the food, is this a restaurant?" "Excuse me, are you rich?" "We only welcome rich guests, not paupers," asked Patty, the chef of Baratie. The man wanted to threaten, but was punched to the ground by Patty. No one expected that a chef could be so powerful, and everyone clapped their hands. At this time, Patty saw Su Tsang and others, and then asked, "Excuse me, sir, do you have money?" Su Tsang didn't want to get entangled, so he took out his bailee and said, "Of course, the 5 of us." Upon seeing this, Patty immediately said with a flattering look, "Welcome 5 of you. Please take a seat." Su Tsang and others naturally began to taste the delicacies of the pirate world, but Krieg's subordinate was naturally thrown out of the restaurant by Patty. Then, when it came to recruiting Sanji, Luffy actually volunteered himself. This was the first time that Su Tsang saw that Luffy's enthusiasm for recruiting friends was greater than his enthusiasm for eating. Therefore, Su Tsang, Zoro, Usopp and Nami were immersed in enjoying the food here. Baradi has a good environment and is rich, so the service he receives is naturally top-notch. But after Sanji and Luffy came back, they naturally had a big fight. Sanji took out a rose and confessed his love to Nami directly. At this time, Zhappu said, "This is a great opportunity. Sanji, why don't you join them and become a pirate? This store doesn't need you anymore." "What do you mean?" Sanji asked immediately. "You are a burden to this store, that's what I mean." Zhappu looked at Sanji and said seriously, "The chefs don't like you anyway, so why not become a pirate or something and get out of this store?" "Humph. Stinky old man. No matter what you say, I will be the chef here, and you are not allowed to have any objections." Sanji and Zhappu actually got into a quarrel. Su Tsang patted his forehead and felt a severe headache. In order to convince Sanji, everyone tried to persuade Sanji, but Sanji always felt that Barati was more suitable for him. Su Tsang and Luffy decided to stay in Barati for a few more days to see if Sanji could change his mind. However, after many attempts, everyone finally became discouraged. Everyone was about to pack up their bags and leave the restaurant on the sea. In the thick fog, they saw a huge ship heading towards Barati. As the ship got closer and closer, the pattern on the pirate ship's flag and the logo on the ship's bow were also clearly seen by many guests. Hourglasses hung on both sides of the skull to demonstrate to the enemy. "That flag is—" "There is absolutely no mistake. It is the overlord of the East China Sea, Chief Krieg." Barati's entire ship was in complete chaos, not only the restaurant, but also the kitchen. After all, the most powerful pirate group in the East China Sea was the Krieg Pirates. As the pirate ship sailed closer, everyone saw that the pirate ship was in dilapidated condition. "What's going on? It doesn't look like it was attacked by a cannon, but it doesn't look like it was sabotaged either." Sanji looked at the ship and was confused. "Hey, Su Tsang, what should we do?" Usopp looked at Su Tsang and asked. After all, in Usopp's eyes, Su Tsang's strength is higher than Luffy's. "It's okay, let's wait and see what happens. Zoro, you should be somewhat aware of the cracks on this ship, right?" Su Tsang asked with a smile. "You mean?" Zoro naturally understood instantly. "Is this a slash?" "Sure enough, it looks like he was struck by sword energy. No matter who slashed it, he must be a very strong swordsman." Zoro also narrowed his eyes slightly and said. Krieg quickly entered the lobby. He was supported by his subordinate Ajin and begged for food and water very sincerely. However, everyone knows that Krieg has a bad reputation, so naturally no one will give him a drink or a meal. At this time, Sanji once again took out the rice. After Krieg gulped down his food, he took the initiative to attack Sanji. "Hey! This guy is really a despicable person," Usopp said as he looked at Krieg. At this time, he also took a step back in fear. However, Zoro, Luffy, and Su Tsang did not retreat. Krieg did not attack the three of them, but looked around and said, "This restaurant is good. This ship belongs to me. Our ship has become dilapidated and we need a new one. When you're done with your work, get off the boat," Krieg said. "There are about 100 men alive on my ship now. They are all hungry and seriously injured. First prepare me water and food for 100 people. Some people have already died of starvation. Send them up immediately," Krieg ordered. "Impossible. You know you will attack us, do you still want us to help them?" The chefs refused. "Refuse? Make no mistake, I'm not ordering food, I'm ordering you. No one is allowed to resist me," Krieg roared very domineeringly. At this time, Sanji slowly got up and said, "I'm going to prepare food and water for 100 people." What Sanji did is really beyond the scope of normal people's understanding. However, all the chefs blocked Sanji, thinking that Sanji was a traitor and a traitor. In the end, Sanji said his golden words, "I don't care if the other person is a bad guy or not. I am a chef. If someone is hungry, feed him. It's that simple. Isn't that what a chef is?" Seeing this, Su Tsang took a few steps forward and said, "Let Sanji go. This is Chef Sanji's belief. There is no reason to stop him. The chefs had no choice but to let Sanji go. Krieg smiled very proudly and said, "Haha. That's right. That's it." The impulsive Patty also tried to fight against Krieg, but he was stopped by Zoro, Luffy, and others. "That's right. Do what you are supposed to do honestly, and I will be merciful and spare your lives." Haha. Krieg was very proud, thinking that his evil reputation had shocked everyone. The self-righteous Krieg still looked that unscrupulous. However, at this time, Su Tsang had already moved. The power of the devil instantly blessed his body, and then he kicked out with one foot, and his body rushed out at an extremely fast speed. With a sound of boom, the vicious leader Krieg was kicked out of Baratie. Sanji did what a chef should do, and I did what I should do. This shouldn't be considered bullying, right? After all, he is a vicious pirate with a full stomach, Su Tsang said handsomely, attracting the attention and praise of everyone present. The leader of the strongest pirate group in the East China Sea was killed with just one blow. Who is this terrifyingly strong person, who even suspects himself of bullying the weak? The guests on the Baratie were shocked and delighted at the same time. Luffy grinned. He naturally knew Su Tsang's strength and understood Su Tsang's purpose. Usopp didn't know what to say. He knew Su Tsangqiang, but he never had a standard to measure it. Now, with others comparing him, Usopp was at least sure that Su Tsangqiang was the strongest person on the ship. "Su Tsang, it's pointless for you to take action. Can you leave the next step to me?" Luffy said. "Of course, this guy is just right for you. As for his cadres, I leave them to you." Su Tsang has lost interest in Krieg. Su Tsang did not kill him, but knocked Krieg away. Now that Krieg managed to return to Baratie, he naturally rushed towards Su Tsang angrily. But at this time, Chef Zepp slowly walked out, handed the food and water for 100 people to Krieg, and said, "Don't cause trouble to them, just leave." Krieg smiled coldly, but still took the food and water to his boat first. And Ajin also took this opportunity to tell everything that happened on the Great Channel. "I see, Eagle-Eye Man." Zoro thought about what Su Tsang said before, and naturally understood everything. At this time, the roars of the Krieg pirates' men could already be heard in the cabin, and all the chefs were preparing to defend Baratie. But at this moment, a figure appeared on the sea. The man just waved the knife in his hand gently, and Krieg's main ship was cut off on the sea. How is it possible? How could such a ridiculous thing happen? Krieg was completely shocked. Even if he was punched away by the little pirate from the East China Sea, now his huge main ship was cut off with a knife. At this time, everyone rushed out immediately, and Joseph and Johnny swam over from the sea. "Where's the ship?" Usopp was shocked, thinking the ship had been affected. "Where are the Nami?" Zoro asked. "I'm sorry, brother, she's no longer here." Johnny and Joseph were naturally no match for the cunning Nami. "Nami robbed the Meli and all the treasures and escaped," Joseph said bitterly. "What did you say?" Luffy, Usopp, and Zoro were both shocked. "Why are you still so calm and composed?" Usopp was also very puzzled. Su Tsang said, "Don't worry, I know where Nami has gone, but why don't you pay more attention over there? One of the 7 warlords of the sea, the strongest swordsman in the world, Mihawk." Su Tsang directly announced the identity of the other party. And Zoro's pupils were also extremely constricted. In front of him was a man riding a small boat with a cross-shaped knife on his back, wearing a black western hat, and his eyes were as sharp as an eagle. Could it be that this is the Hawkeye Man? Zoro couldn't tell whether he should be happy or excited. He went to sea just to find Hawkeye. "By the way, Su Tsang, do you know where Nami went?" "What happened?" Luffy asked. "Hey, please tell me a little bit about this situation." Usopp still asked about the process of the matter. Then, Usopp and Zoro were extremely angry. Damn it! She actually took advantage of this extraordinary period. Zoro naturally hates the feeling of being cheated. That ship was left to us by Kaya. Usopp cherished the ship even more. However, Luffy finally said, "I must have her be our navigator, what do you think?" Su Tsang? By the way, you said you know where Nami is going? What's going on? Everyone then focused on Su Tsang. I said, whose reward was Nami looking at? Su Tsang asked Johnny and Joseph. The fishman Aaron. This guy has a bounty of 20 million belly. Among the pirates in the East China Sea, no one can be his opponent in single combat. After all, he is a fishman. The answer is that Nami had her reasons for doing this. She had to go back to her village, and their village was occupied by the big bully fishman Aaron. Aaron told her that if she could collect 100 million Baileys, we will let their village go. Su Tsang said. So that's it. Luffy and others suddenly realized. But Su Tsang, how did you know? Everyone asked in confusion. You all call me a prophet. Is it normal for you to know these things? Su Tsang directly excused him, and he did not choose to explain. Since he is a big bully, then naturally he can't keep his words, right? Usopp guessed. Of course, Su Tsang said he was a big bully, so he shouldn't be wrong. Zoro also agreed. Among the Straw Hats, although Luffy is apparently the captain, Luffy will still listen to Su Tsang's opinions on many decision-making matters. As for the others, they highly approve of Su Tsang. Everyone discussed what to do together, and as for how to do it, it was Su Tsang who planned it. Su Tsang was like the brain of the entire ship, while Luffy was the soul of the Straw Hats. Zoro, Usopp, and I will go after Nami together. As for Luffy, stay here and do what you should do. Su Tsang probably made a plan so that Luffy could recruit Sanji. And Zoro has a chance against Hawkeye. Then Johnny, Joseph and others brought their boat over, and the three of them immediately boarded the boat and chased in the direction of the Mary. But soon Zoro was attracted by Eagle Eye. He took the initiative to draw his knife, jumped off the boat, and challenged Eagle Eye. Competition? What a miserable weakling. The current Hawkeye looked down on Zoro at all. Then Hawkeye teleported directly to the deck of the ship where Zoro was and said, Even if there is no confrontation, I must be able to see clearly the difference in strength between you and me. If you dare to point swords at me, should you be said to have courage, or is it due to ignorance? It's because of my ambition. And also because of the promise I made with my best friend. Zoro was ready for a fight, but Mihawk pulled out the pendant around his neck and pulled it open, revealing what was inside. Knife. Although you are a well-known swordsman, this is the weakest ocean among the 4 sea areas, the East China Sea. Unfortunately, I don't have a smaller knife than this. Mihawk said. There must be a limit to looking down on people. Zoro rushed over immediately upon seeing this. Eagle Eye said, Frog at the bottom of the well, let me show you the vast blue sky. Zoro yelled, Ghost Slayer. Unexpectedly, Zoro's attack was easily blocked by Hawkeye's knife. How is this possible? Zoro was shocked. He didn't expect that his strongest attack would be blocked so easily by Hawkeye. Then no matter how Zoro swung his sword, he couldn't reach Hawkeye at all, and it was blocked by Hawkeye. It can't be so different. Zoro was beaten down time and time again. After all, the difference in strength was too great. Exactly like the plot, the current Zoro is by no means a match for Hawkeye. Therefore, Zoro was eventually defeated by Hawkeye, but he would rather die than admit his failure. This stubborn and persistent spirit infected Hawkeye. Send your name, boy, Hawkeye said. Roronoa Zoro, Zoro said. I will remember it, the long-lost strong man. As he spoke, Mihawk pulled out his sword. To show the etiquette of a swordsman, I will use this strongest black sword to send you to death in the sea. Mihawk seemed to be telling a fact. I'm so grateful. Zoro turned the knife in his hands, and Mihawk rushed directly towards Zoro. 3 sword style 3,000 worlds. Zoro and Hawkeye both passed by. In just 1 second, the knife in Zoro's hand shattered. Lost, is this the strongest power in the world? Zoro turned around and suddenly opened his arms to Mihawk. What? Mihawk didn't understand what Zoro meant. The scars on the back are the shame of a swordsman. Zoro smiled evilly, seeming to have taken life and death lightly. Amazing! Mihawk slashed down with his sword. Zoro's blood immediately splashed out, and then Zoro lost control of his body and finally fell into the water. Zoro! Luffy shouted in concern. Zoro! Usopp was also horrified. Brother! Joseph and Johnny were naturally in sorrow and pain. Stop, Luffy, and leave it to me. After Tsutsung left these 4 words, he teleported and disappeared. When he reappeared, he had placed Zoro on the deck of the ship. Immediately afterwards, Tsutsung appeared in front of Ingen again, and even Ingen was very surprised when he looked at Tsutsung. You are Zoro's companion, right? You rescued Zoro from the sea, and you managed to survive without getting wet. I see that you are also a swordsman, right? You seem to be very strong. Thank you for not taking action. Mihawk expressed his gratitude first, and then said to Zoro, It's too early for you to die. It's call Mihawk. See yourself clearly, understand the world, and become stronger. No matter how many years pass, I will wait for you in this strongest position. Beyond this sword. Beyond me. Roronoa Zoro! Hawkeye shouted. Hawkeye then turned to look at Tsutsung and said, Boy, let's change places and let's fight? That's what you meant, just wait for me. Tsutsung saw that Hawkeye could see his own strength at a glance, and immediately shouted, Luffy! Usopp! According to our original plan, I will try my best to cooperate with you. You'll meet up. Go ahead. We got it. Everyone was very relieved about Tsutsung and naturally allowed Tsutsung to leave. Let's go, there is an uninhabited island not far away, we can go there. After Hawkeye said that, he took his own boat and directly used slashes to create huge power, pushing the boat in one direction. Rush away quickly. Tsutsung, on the other hand, directly activated his demonic power, grew demonic wings, and rushed in that direction at a faster speed, quickly surpassing Hawkeye. A swordsman with devil fruit abilities? It's interesting. I didn't expect that my trip to the East China Sea would be in vain, and I would meet such an interesting opponent. Tsutsung was flying in the air at an extremely fast speed. It didn't take long for him to see his nearest island. This island is very desolate, there seems to be no plants, let alone animals. But such an island happened to be what Tsutsung needed. At this time, the sound of the system came belatedly. Ding ding ding! Congratulations, host. You have successfully arrived at the famous sea restaurant Baratie and left successfully. Congratulations. You have obtained a demon suit, the system said. Immediately afterwards, Tsutsung felt that the clothes on his body were a little different. Tsutsung's clothes were now shrouded in a golden light, and his whole person was glowing inexplicably, which seemed extremely unusual. Tsutsung didn't quite understand the definition of the devil's suit, so he took the initiative to ask. System, before Hawkeye arrives, can you explain what the devil's suit is? The system naturally responded. The devil's suit is a costume that matches your devil fruit abilities. Your fruit ability is that of a demon, so this demon's suit will automatically be put on your body. At the same time, you can control the demon's suit with your thoughts, and it can transform into various forms at will. This suit has extremely terrifying ductility and defensive properties. Therefore, wearing the devil's suit can effectively defend against most attacks, and it can automatically clean the body. When you sleep, it will automatically change into pajamas for you, but it will still remain the same. It can protect you from being attacked by anyone. The system explained it again before Tsutsung understood. Control with thoughts? Is that so? Tsutsung just had a thought, but he didn't expect that his clothes would change directly. At this moment, Tsutsung had a long black cloak on his back. Although the gloves on his hands were dark, they had extremely exquisite prints. As for the shoes under his feet, they were also comfortable and good-looking, and of course they had comfortable pants. And finally, with the handsome hat on his head, it can be said that Tsutsung transformed himself into a stylish look with just one thought. Coupled with the Zanpakuto of his own on Tsutsung's waist, it can be said that Tsutsung's appearance at this time is simply stunning. Handsome. This devil's suit is really convenient. Only when I wear this outfit can I be interested. Su Tseng smiled with satisfaction. At this moment, Eagle Eye had arrived. Seeing that Su Tseng had arrived, he was not surprised. With a snap of Eagle Eye, he teleported in front of Su Tseng. You actually changed a set of clothes out of thin air? Is this also your fruit power? Eagle Eye asked. It can be said that it is one of the few abilities I currently have. Su Tseng did not pull out his sword, but slowly raised it. Upon seeing this, Ing Yen pulled out his supreme sharp knife, Black Knife Yi, without thinking at all, and locked onto Su Tseng with his sharp eyes like an eagle. With your current strength, there is no opponent who knows you in the East China Sea. I am very curious, what do you want to get? Mihawk asked Su Tseng's motives. Su Tseng smiled faintly and said, What I want to do is follow everyone and arrive at Lovedrew together. Is it your goal to become One Piece? Hawkeye asked. No, in the final analysis, I just want to become One Piece. The structure here is not that grand. I have my bigger ambitions. Su Tseng's words shocked Eagle Eye. It seems that you will be a good opponent. I really want to see you, let's take action. Let me see if your strength is in line with my ambitions. Whether you are a bird that soars into the sky, or a liar who only talks big words while sitting in a well, we will know soon. At this time, Mihawk's whole body exuded a faint chill. It's clear that Mihawk is ready to take action. Boo! Hearing a sound that broke through the air, Mihawk used his teleportation to arrive in front of Su Tseng. And Su Tseng didn't show any weakness and directly pulled out his Zanpakuto. Dang! The knives of both sides collided together. Not bad. Come again. Mihawk's eyes were blazing, and he could tell at a glance that Su Tseng was definitely not an ordinary person. He immediately put away his knife and slashed at Su Tseng again. At the beginning, Hawkeye's sword was not that fast. However, after fighting for a while, Hawkeye's sword reached its extreme speed, and even Su Tseng felt it was difficult. Is this the strongest swordsman in the world? So strong! The only martial arts in the world is fast. Hawkeye's slash was fast and heavy, and he didn't seem to use his full strength. Su Tseng's 24-hour enlightenment played a big role at this time. Su Tseng also grew up quickly. He was obviously weaker than Mihawk at the beginning, but he was soon able to keep up with Mihawk's fighting rhythm. Open your eyes! Su Tseng directly opened his other cheat, Sharingan, this time. Although Sharingan was still a single Magatama at this time, his observation ability had improved a lot. Su Tseng could now basically figure out Mihawk's attack trajectory. Crack! Su Tseng and Hawkeye quickly collided with their knives, and Mihawk's livid face also had a faint smile. I thought you could use the fruit ability, but I didn't expect that you could fight me for so long purely with this swordsmanship. It's really amazing. Compared to your swordsmanship, I think your ability to improve is even more terrifying. Mihawk got excited, and then the more he fought, the more energetic he became, and finally, he actually waved his arms. Hawkeye launched the strongest slash in the world, and the green sword light rushed towards Su Tseng at extremely fast speed. As the strongest swordsman in the world, Su Tseng couldn't ignore Hawkeye's slashing attack. Block! Su Tseng looked at the Zanpakuto in his hand. We can't fall here, we still have a long way to go. Su Tseng chose to believe in the Zanpakuto in his hand at this moment, and also believed in his own swordsmanship, but in the end he still did not use the power of the devil. After all, this is a very fair duel between swordsmen. If the power of devil fruit is used, it will not be pure. However, no matter how strong Su Tseng is, he is currently unable to fight against the serious Hawkeye. His whole body was knocked away, and the Zanpakuto in his hand was also knocked away. Your strength should be more than this. I can feel it. When will you use your true strength to fight me? Hawkeye walked up to Su Tseng and asked. Su Tseng shook his head and said, I have used all my strength, but if I really want to surpass you now, only one friend can help me. Huh! Eagle Eye didn't understand what Su Tseng meant. At this time, Su Tseng looked at the fallen Zanpakuto. Just looking at the Zanpakuto, at this moment, Su Tseng's Zanpakuto had returned to Su Tseng's hand. At this time, Su Tseng's inner world also experienced a slight change. A man who looked similar to him appeared on the endless sea. The two of them were standing on a stone. "Who are you?" Su Tseng asked. "I am your Zanpakuto. You are really amazing. You can actually enter the depths of your heart during a battle," Su Tseng said in surprise. "Now that you are able to come here, I won't leave you alone. The eagle-eyed man in front of you is very strong, right? But this can be your touchstone. When the time comes, call my name." "My name is Shura." The person in front of him suddenly disappeared. And Su Tseng also returned to the island where he fought with Eagle Eye. Once he came back, Eagle Eye felt something was different about Su Tseng. "This guy's momentum is different," Hawkeye said to himself. "What happened?" At this time, Su Tseng raised the Zanpakuto in his hand high, looked at it, and said, "I don't know the name of my sword. I have really wronged you for so long. You have never shown your full potential. The power. So now, let's kill without restraint." "Shura!" After Su Tseng's words fell, his whole person became different. Su Tseng's eyes have now turned into scarlet Sharingan. The difference is that this time it is no longer the single Magatama before, but double Magatama. Double Magatama Sharingan has not only enhanced his observation ability again, but has also been able to copy some of the opponent's actions. In addition to the transformation of his eyes, the most important thing is that Su Tseng's skin has turned blood red, looking like a Kai who has opened the 8 gates gate of death. Bloody, killing, and arrogant momentum. This is the first time I have encountered such an interesting opponent, Shura. Very good, I have never killed Shura before. Hawkeye did not retreat, but took a step forward even more excitedly. "My Hawk, be careful, I will be serious next time." Su Tseng's speed increased again. My Hawk also waved the Black Knife Knight in his hand faster, and the two began to collide again. However, this time Su Tseng had the upper hand. Awesome! Awesome! My Hawk discovered that Su Tseng at this time not only surpassed him in strength, but also in speed and endurance, and his swordsmanship was also improving rapidly. "This guy seems to be learning my swordsmanship?" My Hawk was shocked. He had never heard of someone being able to completely learn it after watching him use it once. It was like copying. Seeing this, My Hawk stopped hiding this time. He didn't know what he was using, but his strength improved again, and it seemed that he had truly reached the level of his Shichibukai. Su Tseng soon discovered that My Hawk's black sword had become stronger. His Shura could feel the pressure even before it touched the opponent's sword. "I see, did you use armed color hockey?" Su Tseng asked. "Yes, with your current strength, I have to do my best," Hawkeye said. "How about this? I will use my strongest slash on you. If you can block it, then, even if I attack you, there is nothing we can do? How about it?" Su Tseng was naturally not afraid, and then said, "Just defending doesn't mean anything. How about we send a slash at each other, and then let's see the final result?" "That's a really good suggestion, let's do it." My Hawk was ready to go, and Su Tseng was also ready to go. The blood all over his body was completely integrated into the Shura in his hand, and his entire Sharingan was firmly locked on Hawkeye's chi, and then Su Tseng swung out with all his strength. Coming! My Hawk also swung out with all his strength, and the extremely terrifying green sword light also came towards Su Tseng. A red light and a green light suddenly collided together, and an extremely terrifying momentum immediately burst out. The entire island instantly became the center of the whirlpool. Immediately afterwards, a huge gust of wind swept across the entire island. With the two as the center, an extremely terrifying shock wave erupted to the surroundings. Not only did the island itself suffer, but even the surrounding sea was directly stirred up by countless waves. The sea was filled with monstrous waves that spread around, seemingly capable of swallowing everything. However, this scene did not last long. After a while, the surrounding area calmed down, except that a huge crater was left where the two swords collided. Both Hawkeye and Su Tseng were panting. It was the first time for Su Tseng to be in such a mess in the world of pirates. However, this was also the most enjoyable fight Su Tsang had ever had since traveling through the pirate world. Su Tsang's clothes were somewhat destroyed, but the demon's suit had amazing recovery capabilities and immediately began to repair itself. Hawkeye also put away his black sword, looked at Su Tsang and said, "Not only did you block my slash, but you are still able to stand until now. You are already amazing, you are still young, you will soon will leave me far behind." Hawkeye then asked, "I am very interested in the slash you just made. Tell me, what is the name of this move?" Su Tsang thought for a while and then said, "There is no name, but since you ask, I will call him Shura Slash. This is the strongest slash since I transformed into Shura. Very powerful, very bloodthirsty, you already have your own style." At this time, Hawkeye had no idea of continuing the fight. Su Tsang was able to tie with him before he mastered domineering, so it would only be a matter of time before he surpassed him. There was no need to continue looking for trouble now. "Okay, let's go find your companion. Thank you for letting me see the vastness of the sword. We should meet again, and I will become stronger by then. Let's fight again then." After Hawkeye finished speaking, he turned around and left with a smile. Su Tsang had no strength at this time. In the battle with Hawkeye, Sharingan overused and consumed all the current chakra. In addition, Su Tsang was freed for the first time and fought with all his strength, which completely caused Su Tsang to lose the power to continue fighting. After Hawkeye left, Su Tsang fell on the deserted island, while the devil's suit silently protected Su Tsang. I don't know how long it took, but Su Tsang opened his eyes slightly. He could smell a strong smell of sea salt. He moved his body and felt a lot of pain all over his body, but he was still able to stand up. I don't know how long it has been. I didn't expect this guy Hawkeye to be really powerful. Although I didn't use the power of Devil Fruit, I used Sharingan and Shirkai, and I was only able to tie with him. He is indeed the world's best swordsman." Su Tsang discovered that his Zanpakuto Shura had changed. The originally black scabbard had now turned a trace of blood red. And if Su Tsang feels more comfortable, the blood color of the scabbard will be more vivid and complete. So that's it. My sword should be the same as Kurosaki Ichigo's Zangetsu. It can maintain the Shirkai state for a long time. If I master Bankai, I wonder if I can defeat Hawkeye? Between Su Tsang and Hawkeye the battle made him feel a lot. When he recovered and was almost ready, Su Tsang used his devil fruit power to fly away. Su Tsang first followed the original direction and returned to the sea restaurant Barati, and then found that Sanji and Luffy had left. They left in that direction. Chef Redfoot Jipu clearly pointed out the direction of Luffy and others for Su Tsang. Su Tsang then flapped his huge devil wings and headed in the direction they said. Fly away. The weather was perfect along the way, and Su Tsang kept moving at a constant speed without consuming much demonic power. He didn't know how long he had been flying, but Su Tsang finally saw an island on the vast sea, so he landed directly on that place. At this time, murlocs can be seen everywhere on the shore. These murlocs have human bodies but have the characteristics of fish. When they saw Su Tsang, they immediately came over and asked, "Who are you? You look good. Are you alive?" "I come from another place," Su Tsang said truthfully. "What should we do?" The two fishmen looked at each other, and then discussed. "Anyway, let's take him to Brother Eren first." The two weak-looking fishmen led Su Tsang to Eren's location, and Su Tsang did not refuse. He knew that the fishman was still there, which meant that Eren had not been defeated. Since Eren was still alive, then time must not have passed long, and Nami and others would definitely be there. On the way to the fish paradise where Eren was led by the fishmen, Su Tsang saw that many towns had been destroyed. This shows how cruel and evil the fishman Eren is. But soon, Su Tsang was taken to the Murloc Paradise. The Murloc Paradise in front of him looked very similar to Marine Headquarters Marine Vondo. At this time, Su Tsang was finally brought into a swimming pool-like auditorium. The leader has a jagged nose and the iconic blue skin of a fishman. He also wears yellow short sleeves and has a pattern of the former Sun pirates on his left chest. And he is naturally the Fishman Eren, the leader of the Dragon Pirates, a pirate more powerful than the Krieg pirates in the East China Sea. He looked at Su Tseng and asked, "Who are you? What are you doing here?" Su Tseng then said, "I'm looking for people like Nami, Luffy, and Usopp. I wonder if you, a half-fish, have ever seen them?" At this time, Eren smiled very arrogantly and said, "You are just a low-class human being. How can you be so arrogant? But I will forgive you this time, and don't let me hear the word half-fish again next time. We fishmen are the evolved form of humans who have the ability to breathe in the sea. With our ability as fish, we are far superior to you." Fishman Eren said very proudly, "Having various abilities beyond human beings, please remember that the primate of all things is the fishman. Human beings who violate the fishman are equivalent to violating the laws of nature," Eren said naturally. At this time, a girl had slowly walked forward. "I'm tired of hearing your stupid theories, Eren." The person who spoke was Nami, who was wearing a pair of sandals and a camisole. At this time, Nami could reveal his shoulders, and the logo of the Eren Pirates on his shoulders was very dazzling. "Don't put on that scary expression. You are also special among humans. You are an excellent surveyor that Eren and our team are proud of. You can always draw the correct chart for us." Eren saw Nami said immediately after appearing, "Of course, I have a different head than you." Nami responded, "Nami, have Luffy and the others come to see you? Or did I arrive first?" Su Tseng asked. Upon seeing this, Eren immediately replied, "What? So you guys know each other?" Nami immediately retorted, "Stop talking nonsense, he is just my prey. This time I got a lot of treasure from him. I didn't even know that I was deceived. I even pursued him shamelessly. It's really stupid." "Yes." Su Tseng smiled instead, and then said, "Nami, others may not have guessed it, but I already knew the things you hid from me. On the ship, didn't everyone say that I know everything?" Su Tseng said, "I should have warned you before, right? With just one Eren, he will not be my opponent." Nami didn't know how to respond to Su Tseng's words. Nami wanted to protect Su Tseng, but Su Tseng said everything, and Nami was stunned for a moment. Ha 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 ha! Next, the entire Eren paradise was filled with laughter. It's not that this fish man has never heard of arrogant words, but no one has ever dared to say such arrogant words. Ha! Human being, are you so anxious to die? Eren looked at Su Tseng and laughed. Ha! Nami, what are you going to do with this guy? Eren wanted to take advantage of Nami, so he naturally gave Nami some face. Nami waved his hand and said, "Let him go, he is no longer useful to us, and even killing him has no meaning. Yes, we still need to arrest the invading pirates." Eren then stood up and didn't take Su Tseng seriously at all. However, at this time, something surprising happened. Eren's body suddenly made a bang and was covered by a burst of smoke. "Run away!" In the smoke, Su Tseng seemed to feel someone pulling him. There was no other way, so Su Tseng had to follow him. When the smoke dispersed, Eren discovered that Su Tseng had disappeared in front of him. "Asshole! Who is it?" Eren was very angry. It was obvious that the person who attacked him was a human being. And Su Tseng soon discovered that the person who was so heroic just now turned out to be Usopp. "Why are you? Where are you taking me, Usopp?" Su Tseng asked. "Follow me. I'll explain to you when we get there." Usopp pulled Su Tseng and ran away quickly. Soon, Su Tseng was pulled into a village, and Usopp then pulled Su Tseng into a house. What I didn't expect was that all the familiar people were in this house. Luffy, Zoro, Sanji, Johnny, Joseph, and the blue-haired girl. My name is Nokigo, and I am Nami's adopted sister. Naturally, the blue-haired girl, like Nami, is the child of Marine, a retired female soldier from Belmere. As for the others who were already here, Su Tseng didn't expect this. Su Tseng. Nuo Chigao has already told us. This is exactly what you said. If we want Nami to continue to be our navigator, then we must completely defeat Arlong, Luffy said. However, before that, we have to watch Eren break his promise. No, Kigo said. You should have said before that Nami saved the money to save the village, right? As long as Eren breaks his promise, Nami will never have any hope for Eren again. Usopp explained. I see, it seems we have to wait a while longer. Tsutsung nodded. However, at this moment, a large wave of fishmen have arrived in Cocoa West Village, and they are naturally preparing to capture Tsutsung and the so-called invading Straw Hats. No matter how much we wait for the opportunity, we still have to do the work we need to do, Zoro said. Sanji also lit a cigarette, and everyone rushed out of the room. Regarding the group of fishmen in front of them, the Straw Hats naturally did not stop at all and defeated them all. All the fishmen were defeated here, and the news naturally spread like wildfire. Eren was completely furious, and naturally led all the cadres and fishmen to Kokoyasi village. Despicable human pirates. If you don't come out, I will completely destroy this Cocoa West village. You don't want all the humans to be buried with you, right? The fishman Eren threatened. I only count to 5. 5. 4. 3. 2. 1. Eren was about to destroy the houses in Kokoyasi village, but at this time, Nami took the initiative to stand up. Stop. You are not allowed to attack Koko Nishimura. Nami stretched out his hands to stop him. Is it Nami? Do you also want to stop me? Said the fishman Eren. Don't forget our agreement. The money has been collected, and you will never break your promise. Nami reminded. Eren smiled and said, Of course I won't forget it. If you give me the money, I will naturally stop. However, at this time, all the money Nami saved was taken away by the fishman Eren. How can this be done? This is my treasure. Nami also said very excitedly. Is it yours? I didn't write your name on it, so whoever finds it will belong to you. I said, where is your 100 million belly? Since you don't have it, then you should stop stopping me from destroying Cocoa West Village. Or, in other words, are you still willing to make an agreement with me? At this time, the fishman Eren was very excited. It's so disgusting that Nami couldn't stop laughing. Everyone knows that Eren sent people to steal Nami's treasure map, and just asked his men to snatch away her 100 million belly in advance. Damn it! It's so abominable. Nami tried to fight back, but Eren knocked him to the ground easily. You are just as ridiculous as your dead mother. An inferior race like you is only worthy of being ruled by us fishmen. Sorry. I'm serious. Haha. You shouldn't care, right? Or do you want to be my enemy? Eren and his gang were so angry that Nami had no choice. At this time, the villagers couldn't stand it anymore, and all the villagers took out their farm tools. Although their weapons were confiscated by Eren, they still planned to fight to the death. The villagers have long known that Nami became a cadre of Eren's group in order to save the village. Now that Nami's hopes have been disappointed, the villagers naturally unite again and plan to fight back. However, fishmen have a natural advantage, and their wrist strength is 10 times that of humans. Even the minions among the fishmen are stronger than ordinary humans, so the villagers are at an absolute disadvantage as soon as they take action. No! Although Nami tried to stop him, he was knocked to the ground. Don't hurt her. She is our treasure. Although Eren blamed the fishmen under him, he said with a smile. Seeing that everyone was about to be slaughtered by Eren, even the strong Nami finally couldn't help crying at this moment. Eren! Stop it! I'm sorry to everyone. Nami didn't know what was going on with her. What she needed most at this time was the people who made her feel true friendship, the Straw Hats. At this moment, Nami's cry finally came true. If everyone is here, come and help me. Nami shouted this. Immediately afterwards, a long arm stretched out, and an angry fist was punched out instantly. It was also accompanied by a voice. I don't care who you are. But don't make my navigator cry. Bang! This sudden attack hit the fishman Eren's body impartially, and Eren was blown away like a cannonball. Brother Aaron. He was punched away. This is impossible. Who is it? Is it a human? All the fishmen were shocked. For them, Aaron was their eldest brother and their backer, but now the backer has collapsed. The person who took action was not Suitsung, but Luffy. Suitsung felt that it was more appropriate to let the very charismatic Luffy take action at this moment. Bastard. Bastard. Human pirate. I'm going to kill you. Naturally, the fishman Aaron would not be killed by Luffy at this time, so he returned to the battlefield again. As for Aaron's group of cadres, they have also found their corresponding opponents. Hachi vs. Zoro. Chiu vs. Usopp. New partner Sanji fights against the Murloc karate player Kruby. As for Suitsung, he set his sights on other fish detainers. Zaihachi's potential in kendo is naturally not as advanced as Zoro's, and the final result is obvious. As for Usopp, although it was a bit difficult, he finally defeated the ink-vomiting Chirk by relying on his clever brain. Sanji's leg skills were deep and red-footed Zepp's true pass was enough, so he finally won the battle against Kruby. When an angry Luffy fought with Aaron, he naturally didn't get as much benefit from Aaron, but Aaron was extremely cunning and had to take advantage of the water to fight Luffy from time to time. And Luffy is a user with fruit abilities, so he couldn't take down Arlong for a while. But after the others won, they rescued Luffy. In the end, Luffy used a rubber tomahawk to beat the fishman Aaron to the point where he could no longer move, which was considered a complete victory. As for Suitsung, with his weird steps and terrifying swordsmanship, he cut down all the men of the dragon pirates to the ground in one breath. After completely defeating Aaron and his group, Kokoyashi village was rescued from the Sea of Misery. Nami looked at everyone, and everyone looked at each other and smiled. However, at this moment, an annoying guy appeared again. Although this man was wearing a marine uniform, he didn't look like a good person at first glance. He smiled very cunningly and said, "Wow! I'm so lucky today. Good job. I watched a wonderful battle. Although it was a coincidence, I never expected that the Murlocs would lose to nameless pirates like you. But thanks to you, the money that was supposed to be given to the dragon pirates, and the property hidden in the dragon pirates are all mine. Everyone, put down your weapons. I, Marine, will take all the credit for your achievements." Colonel Mouse of the 16th branch accepted it. Ah. At this time, Zoro grabbed the Mouse Colonel by the collar and said, "When people are happy, don't come and pour cold water on them. Then he beat the Marines very easily. If you dare to hit me, I will never let you go." Although Colonel Mouse was beaten and disfigured, he still threatened him verbally. Nami was furious and beat the Mouse Colonel again. As for Suitsung, he slowly walked to the side of Colonel Mouse and put his knife on Colonel Mouse's neck. The greedy mouse immediately said, "What are you going to do?" "I am Marine." "Yes, I am a pirate, so I can kill you at any time," Suitsung said coldly. "What do you want?" Colonel Mouse asked. "If you want me to spare your life, you must agree to 3 conditions. Otherwise I will kill you very easily," Suitsung threatened. You say it, you say it." Colonel Mouse truly felt threatened by Suitsung. "First, clean up the remaining fishmen, and second, help rebuild the cities destroyed by the fishman Aaron. As for the money, don't touch even a penny, it is the money of this island," Suitsung said after finishing. Nami looked at Suitsung and nodded heavily. After all, what Suitsung wanted to say was what Nami wanted to say. "As for the third one, you should know that we defeated Aaron, right? Pirates like us who are extremely evil, powerful, and dare to threaten Marine should deserve the highest bounty in the East China Sea? Am I not exaggerating?" Suitsung Jiang was stunned by the Mouse Colonel in front of him. "You mean?" Colonel Mouse is a little hesitant to confirm. "That's right, it's what you think. I want our pirate group's bounty to be as high as possible. Upgrade it to the highest level with your authority. Do you understand this time? I have no patience." Suitsung was very fierce. Said, I understand. Colonel Mouse is about to cry. He didn't expect that these days there are all kinds of people, and there would even be pirates threatening him to take the initiative to increase his bounty. Immediately afterwards, Su Tseng, Luffy and the others took the initiative to ask Marine to take some handsome and good-looking photos of them, which looked like personal portraits. Su Tseng then told Colonel Mouse their information. Colonel Mouse and the Marines then left Cocoa West Village. Marine number 00733, request to the headquarters. Listen carefully, consider a pirate named Luffy wearing a straw hat, a swordsman named Su Tseng, and his associates as enemies of our government. They are a great threat. Aaron and his gang, who are already known as the Invincible Fishman Paradise, were defeated by them. Considering their terrifying potential, please set the highest bounty in the East China Sea for this group of people. Submit photos now passed. I have extremely detailed information about them. They told me personally. In short, raise the reward amount as high as you can. Colonel Mouse tried his best, not only for Su Tseng, but also for revenge. These pirates! I will make you regret it, Colonel Mouse said harshly. In the following days, not only Kokoyashi village celebrated, but the entire 20 places under Aaron's rule began to hold celebrations. The Straw Hats ate meat and drank wine, and had fun. Johnny and Joseph expressed their intention to go back to being bounty hunters of their own. Su Tseng came to the edge of the cliff, where Nami Nachi and others were worshipping their mother Belmo. Have you decided? Are you going to set off with us? Su Tseng asked. When are you leaving? Su Tseng asked. Now. Nami suddenly took Su Tseng's hand and quickly boarded the melee. Hey! Let's go, let's go! Su Tseng shouted. Is it so sudden? Although Zoro and others were puzzled, they boarded the ship as quickly as possible. By the time others reacted, the Straw Hats had already boarded the Mary. 100 million Baileys, left for everyone. Wait a minute! We haven't had time to thank you properly yet. The villagers of Kokoyashi village wanted to stop them, but it was already too late. Nami was very straightforward and jumped directly onto the golden melee. The villagers looked at Nami walking away, but they were helpless.